Just walk away. Walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
Hi everybody, welcome back to MGTOW Chats. This is episode 31. Your host, Ayam, Sirias. Nick, New York Nick. We'll call you New York Nick because that's what TFM called you.
Lamprey.
Okay, Lamprey. Lamprey's with me, as always. How are you doing?
Good to hear from you. As always, I'm dressed fantastic for you tonight.
Great. I'm wearing nothing but a tunic and some leather shorts. And then we have our special guest, Sovereign. Sovereign, you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
Great, man. You sound great. Everybody sounds good. Fantastic. Now, we've got a few good topics to talk about. We're going to get into Trump. We're going to get into what Nick coined as the Millennial monopoly. And I think, Sovereign, you mentioned that to him, the concept of Millennial monopoly. We'll get into that. As well as we're going to do a little bit of talking about Bitcoin. But before we do, as you guys all know, this show is not sponsored by anybody. It's not sponsored by anybody. But if it was, it would be sponsored by this book right here, Sexual Utopia and Power by F. Roger Devlin. Pick it up, buy it, read it. It's great. Also, if we did have sponsors, we might have this one, registerher.com. Again, I've pushed this. You know what I'm talking about, right, Nick?
Of course.
Yeah, registerher.com. If you haven't seen the last couple episodes, I've been plugging this website. Go to it. On this website, it has a list of registered female offenders who have been caught lying about rape. Please go to the site and check it out. All the offenders are listed. You can send in a tip. If you know of any woman that's been convicted of lying about rape and destroying a man's life, send them a tip. They'll put her face on so that she'll be on the internet forever. But, as you know, our site isn't sponsored, so let's get into it, guys. Trump, right? That's where we're starting?
Well, just a disclaimer warning, I will be biased when it comes to Donald Trump, so I am a bit biased when it comes to Trump.
That's okay. You're New York. You're from New York, so is Trump. It's to be expected.
Donald fucking J.
Was when Obama was in power, were people from Chicago biased for him?
Of course. And blacks and minorities and pretty much everybody but white males.
So I'm going to frame Trump by telling a story about my experience back in 2016 when the elections happened. So my entire life as an expatriate in Asia was framed by a two-term presidency of Barack Obama. That all happened while I was off of the continent. And when I moved back in 2016, lo and behold, there were new elections for a new president. And just picture this, freshly back to the Western continent from Asia, from a 13-year hiatus in Asia. I'm sitting here in a small town in southern Alberta, Canada, and it's November, and it's fucking cold, and the elections are happening. And it comes down to Trump and the witch. What's her name? Clinton. So I remember this very, very clearly, man. It's almost like when you think back to like where were you at 9/11? It's like where was I when Trump was elected? So I'm laying in bed, I'm ready to go to sleep, and there's a time difference, so I didn't stay up to see the results. And I remember going to bed, and I said a little prayer to myself. I said, God, please let Trump win. And I was probably one of the few Canadians that were saying that on that night. And when I woke up, honestly, and he had won, it was like this weight off my shoulder. It was incredible. Now, I'm not saying Trump is some grand president. I'm just saying that it was a relief that he won and Hillary did not. So that's my framing of it.
Let me start off by asking you, did you think the social justice warrior agenda was going to end with his presidency?
No, I didn't think that. But I'll tell you another thing I didn't expect. I did not expect this continued absolute hatred for him by the mainstream media. I did not expect that.
After his election?
Yeah, after his election. I did not expect that. It's fantastic.
Okay. Right.
And I also I what I thought was this guy's fascinating because I could put a hat on or a t-shirt on with his name and probably get punched in the street. That's why I thought this guy was fascinating, man. So basically, Donald Trump is this. The media frames him as the antithesis to Obama, don't they?
Well, he is.
Is he, though? Really?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How so?
He hasn't really carried much of Obama's torch in any way. The other factions within America certainly are, but what Trump represents, I don't see too much of that. There's still a lot of smoke. There's a lot of, the smoke screen hasn't cleared. I mean, it's been 2 years of Trump, and we still can't tell what side he's playing on. And I think this is partial to the fact that he is making deals.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sovereign, I'm not going to ask you if you voted for Trump, but I mean, give me your opinion on the guy.
I think he came off pretty genuine. I mean, when he was running, but he had that effect where everything he said he was going to do and everything that was wrong was like everyone was saying in the back of their mind, "Wow, that guy's reading my mind." It's exactly how I feel. He had that connection with the voting people. Now, in order to do that, is he really facing the same issues as the majority of the world? No, he's not. So I sometimes think to myself, well, how is he able to figure out how the everyday American really feels about their country and their government? And it goes back to this Cambridge Analytica hack on Facebook where actually the Trump campaign was gathering information illegally on all of its users. And it's basically like data mining. And he was, paying for this information. So it's almost like getting the answers to a test. He knows how everybody feels. He knows exactly what they're thinking. And he just preached to them, I think. Well, I think that's what really happened.
Let's put it this way, man. Trump is the first president to be elected in the modern age of the concept of data mining and the capacity, the capabilities of data mining. I mean, when
the Obama administration didn't do any of that.
Well, they didn't have the technology at the time. It wasn't set up yet.
Yeah. Right. But that, when Trump when he was talking, I mean, this guy's a fucking billionaire. He doesn't take a commercial airplane when he goes down to Florida or, on a vacation. He has his own private jet he walks right on. He doesn't deal with security. He doesn't deal with TSA when he's on the line. He doesn't deal with anything. He's just dealing with himself and the people he pays. So for him to relate to an everyday person, I think it's very hard for that to even really take place. I think it's not even possible for a man like him to relate.
No, but
to be honest with you.
But
so
I completely disagree with you on that. Now, and I know as New Yorkers, his dialect, the way he speaks, the type of businesses he was incorporated in, how he was able to come up in New York, Jamaica, Queens. Come on, he's from Jamaica, Queens. So he does have some form of a connection with a working class in New York. You would disagree with that, Sovereign?
I would have to say you're wrong.
Okay.
The guy was born with hundreds of millions of dollars, dude. When you have wealth like that, you don't associate with regular people every day. You don't hang out. Your friends aren't people that make $100,000 a year, dude. It doesn't work like that. That's why there's country clubs, and that's why there's people that pay $100,000 for a yearly membership to go to the country club, because it's a safe place to meet like-minded and wealthy people that they could network business-wise. The guy does not know a union guy who fucking sets up glass every day or does carpentry work making $40 an hour.
One of his buildings. for one of his buildings? You don't think he does?
No, he doesn't. Just like he admitted when there were illegal fucking workers working for him, he said he had no idea and that he wasn't directly responsible because he doesn't handle that.
Yeah, why
Dude,
would he?
when you work your way up the ladder in life, you don't deal with the people directly. You deal with a supervisor. Then he deals with, management and a group of other people, and then it trickles down, the work levels. He's never directly dealing with the guy who's putting the fucking screws in the wood. Okay, he's not dealing with the guy who's doing the blueprints. He's dealing with the fucking large real estate corporation that contracts all that stuff, and probably he's only talking to the main guy, like the CEO of that company. Mm-hmm. So he definitely is not in reality of what life is really like for the people. You can't say that. I know plenty of people that make $1 million plus a year, and I know them on a very close personal level, and they don't even know what it's like to be someone that makes 50 or 100 grand a year.
Yeah,
because they're out of that reality.
It becomes a bit of an echo chamber when you're in that type of social class. What also happens is you become very callous towards the average person, and in fact,
I'll give you an example.
No,
go ahead.
I'll give you a perfect example. I was being trained in a in a firm, and my family was friends with the owner of it. The guy's wealthy, does really good. And I go over to him because that's the only guy I really knew there that I was brought into, and I ask him like silly questions like, "Oh, what's the code for the printer?" I don't know. "Oh, that's below my pay grade." The guy won't fucking even answer a simple question. He probably doesn't even know the answer to it because you know what? He doesn't deal with the printing machine. You got to go ask the fucking receptionist or the lady that works, his assistant's assistant or some shit. So you get so pulled out of what the reality is like for these people because you're never really dealing face to face. You got a person that does this for you and a person that does that, and that guy's got someone that he communicates with, and it gets broken down so far down the line. To go back to Trump saying that he is literally he read everyone's minds when he was running. That's why a lot of people voted for him. Okay, but people never stop to think, how can this guy possibly understand us?
Right.
Yeah, I mean he was on Alex Jones. He was on Michael Savage. He was connecting with a working class conservative from West Virginia, coal miners. Remember, he was petitioning to coal miners very hard in West Virginia. I mean, Pennsylvania switched over Republican and voted for Trump when everybody thought it was going to vote for Hillary Clinton. There's a good example that there's a big shift and change when he was able to reach a certain rabid fan base in America. The John Birchers, Tea Party members, they all rallied around Trump.
So I think it's safe to assume that Trump probably does not have his finger on the pulse of the working class American. He doesn't understand it. He wasn't born into it. He probably doesn't spend a lot of energy in trying to understand it. However, like you said, when he was elected, he was speaking directly to those people that we're saying he doesn't understand. Now, if that was a result of data, if that was a result of data mining, which I'm sure it was, they knew exactly what to say. But what really interests me is that Trump is the physical manifestation of what the middle class, the working class, was thinking. There he is. They voted for him because he said, "Well, okay, how about this? Let's go over what platforms won him the election."
Wall.
The wall, yeah.
The wall.
I think his whole slogan of "Make America Great Again," repealing Obamacare, because for the average, the everyday person, they can't afford health insurance, man.
Yeah.
I talk to clients all the time. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of money, man.
Obama was a monster.
$30,000 a year for a family now.
Yeah.
For health insurance. So, yeah, if you just didn't touch it, it would have been probably half the price. If Obama just left everything alone, didn't fuck with it, it would have been half probably the premium that it is today.
Well, yeah,
the insurance carriers are struggling too. I mean, they're making less money because the government's got fees involved in the cost. And
we just lost one. A local company just went out of business, and a lot of people had to switch over again to United Healthcare. And if you look at their stock price when Obama took office, it just skyrocketed from like a penny stock to I don't know, like $60-$70 a share now.
Yeah, I mean. Okay, so we got Obamacare. He repealed Obamacare. That was a platform, I think, that won him the election. The Wall was a big platform that won him the election. I mean, being tough with immigration, because basically, and do you agree with the concept that all of those platforms were kind of correcting mistakes that Obama made?
Yeah,
I think exactly like I said, he was reading the people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, it would clearly mean that that's what everyone was looking for, everything he said.
Yeah.
So he's a sales professional. You have to remember the type of person he is and the way he operates.
Yeah.
He does as much research before he goes in to make his pitch.
Well, he
and
doesn't
present his offer.
The people that work for him do. They do the research.
Right. So obviously at this point, it's like, right, he's not even exactly. You're just making me sound more correct. He's so distant from what it even takes. So he has people that go and actually do it for him now.
Yeah.
Right. And then he studies and practices, and then he goes and he presents, and then he closes.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing. And it is a fact, this Cambridge Analytica thing, believe it or not, because Facebook was like being questioned. Zuckerberg was in Congress.
Yeah.
And they were, they were going through the whole thing, like, how can this happen? Da, da, da. So regardless, I mean, listen, I don't think it's really illegal, but he did what he had to do to win. And
well, it's not illegal
what
now.
happens when you're a sales.
It's not illegal now,
Right.
or
It's
else
not
Zuckerberg
right. What he did wasn't illegal, right? So all I'm saying is, like, when you are a salesperson like that, you're very competitive, and you're as big as he is, losing is not an option.
That's right.
So he does what he has to do to win. That's how it works.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do to get to where you want to be, because you want to hit your goal. And that's what he did. He got in and did what he had to do. Now, is he doing everything he says? I think he's doing little bits and pieces of it. He ain't really doing that
Right.
much.
Well, he hasn't
Yeah,
built the
when I
wall
think,
yet.
still no wall.
Yeah.
To go back to Obamacare, he says he repealed Obamacare. He didn't repeal shit. The only thing
Right.
he repealed was the mandate. Now, how is that helping people? It's not. Okay, you don't have to have health insurance, but guess what? Those people that have to have health insurance now are going to pay even more money. You know why? Because the only people that are going to have health insurance now are the people that need it, and the prices are going to go up because the people that didn't need it, that were forced to buy it, it was kind of like money that was coming in with no expenses, right? They weren't using it, so it helped keep the price down from all the other regulations that Obamacare made. So Trump kind of like just repealed one piece of it so it could blow up. That's what he did, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, I think we spoke last year, and I was telling you very similar shit was already happening, and it did happen with another carrier.
That's right. Yeah.
And at this point, it's exactly the same thing. He took the one thing away from Obamacare that was actually helping the rate stay low.
Yep.
Which was that whether you were sick or not, you paid for insurance, and it would help with the people that were sick using it. Now only the sick people are going to buy it, and the price is going to go higher. Because Obamacare wasn't just this mandate, dude. Obamacare was, okay, well, you have to collect $50 per person on every insurance policy for the United States government. That's it built into the premium. It was like $14.50, and it goes up every year. And there's other things. The insurance companies can't make more than 20% on their medical loss ratio. It used to be like 29%. So these companies are running on thinner margins, and they have a greater risk, obviously, now of going out of business. And then it forces everything on another company that's not equipped to pick up that market share. And it kind of like shocks the company. And obviously that's a big expense as well. So, there's a lot more to it than that, right? Cap the CEO pay. If you pay more than $300,000, whatever it is, $350,000 to a CEO, you pay tax on that money, regardless if it's being paid to the CEO. So the CEO has to pay income tax on that, but the corporation can't write it off as a salary to him after $350,000. They have to still pay tax on that money.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's really what's happening. So if you're a CEO of an insurance company, I think you should be making probably a couple $1 million. I mean, it's a $1 trillion operation you got going on. There's a lot of shit involved that's kind of messing the whole thing up.
Okay. We have
Trump's not really doing shit to stay on topic.
We got it. It's okay. We're good. We got the Fuzz making a comment saying, "Wrong. Obama started the data mining to come to power, certainly for his second term."
No, he did too. Yes, we are aware of Obama doing it also.
No,
but,
it wasn't about Obama. It wasn't this. It was just about that Trump used it to win the election. That's all we're really saying.
Well, not only that, but I mean, the longer that we exist in sort of this world of data and data mining capacity, we just get better at using it for different things. I mean, when what Trump using it to win the election was the peak of that technology and access to that amount of data. Because you got to think about it, data just keeps getting bigger with every year that passes.
Yeah.
It just keeps. There's just every year more data, more data, more data. Throw
And
it
not
into
only
an
that,
algorithm.
your footprint on the internet continues to grow and grow more and more the longer you continue to use the internet.
That's right.
Yeah, and the FBI does monitor that, and they can categorize you on your behavior and the type of person you are very easily.
Yeah.
By that.
That's right. So I mean, every time you access Google, they're recording it. They know what you look for. They know who you talk to. They know what you like. They know where you are. If you have a smartphone, they know exactly where you are at all times.
I wouldn't be surprised if, YouTube and everybody else is not analyzing and recording everything that goes over their airwaves too. I mean,
they do.
It's just a basic practice. Your cell phone, same shit.
Yeah.
Everything. Nobody ever reads the user agreement to any of this shit or privacy policy.
No.
People should fucking read it. You have to. If you read that, you will think twice about using that product. But the problem is today is that there is no product that does not violate your true privacy rights.
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying they disclose it, but it's like a 10-page paragraph in size 6 font that nobody even reads with 1 billion words. So... Right. If you read that stuff, you'd be like, oh, my God, I'm not using this program. This is crazy. They're going to store it and save it and use it to figure out ads that would be directed towards me and the type of person I am and all these different things.
It's a new frontier.
Let me interject here for a moment.
It's a new world.
Yeah, it is a new world. A guy that works with me comes into my office and says, hey, have you ever heard of this sweat coin? I'm like, sweat coin? What is that? He goes, oh, yeah, you get $30 a month just using this app and walking around and stuff. I go, dude, you're getting paid to give up your information on your walking habits. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Basically, that app is not only going to know about your walking habits, it's going to know your health. It's going to know how much you walk per day, when you walk, the distances that you walk,
and if it's
most
hooked
likely
up to
your location.
If it's hooked up to your biorhythms, like a lot of these apps, you can hook it up to your biorhythms. It'll take your pulse and shit.
Right, and that will be a lead that's sold to a life insurance company or a health insurance company or another company.
That's right.
Or even a fitness company, that knows.
Yeah. That
they'll just use that information. You basically voluntarily gave information where you're not even aware of it. Yeah. I mean, that's the world we live in today. It's kind of sick.
It is.
It's really
very
messed up.
Scary. Very scary.
It's this is not the way that this country was supposed to be. But unfortunately, these huge companies work alongside the government. To tell you the truth. Yeah. Because the government can't directly spy on you, but the government could get Facebook's information that's been spying on you the whole time. Yeah. So they're circumventing our constitutional rights, which people don't fucking realize.
Yes, they are. They're circumventing your constitutional rights. Well, in the United States, the constitutional rights of Americans through this new form of interaction, which is the social media and the internet, the world of data, ones and zeros. And you have to remember the internet started out as a military project, and it's not like somebody just kind of stumbled across the technology for sharing data through wires and then going, wow, wouldn't this be a benefit to humanity? That's not how the fucking internet started, man.
Right.
But anyway, no one's brought to trial. No one's brought to court.
No.
But if you fail an inspection on your car, you could wind up dead.
Okay. And here's another thing to look at. They found a way to go around our rights by sort of invading our privacy legally. Okay. Because again, like we said, this is new frontier. They don't have laws to surround this kind of shit yet. But the problem is even though they're invading our privacy, anything we do in our private lives that contradicts their way of thinking can become a criminal act.
Yep.
Which is like a thought crime. And for example, the guy in Scotland who went to trial for posting a video of his pug giving a Nazi salute. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, okay, well, this guy in Scotland who is a YouTuber, a bit of a social media personality. Now he's very famous because of the trial. But he made a video of he taught his girlfriend's pug how to give a Nazi salute when he said "gas the Jews." He was threatened with jail time, man.
He fucked up, but it's funny at the same time.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
really,
it was a crime. He went to court. He was persecuted.
I don't know.
Yes,
that's pretty extreme.
What country
Scotland,
was this?
man, Scotland, the UK.
Yeah,
United Kingdom.
I don't know the way they work over there, but you know, I mean, if you're not walking around doing it to people publicly and you're doing it yourself, I'm not sure why that would. You know, again, this is privacy rights. I mean,
yes.
If you're in your own home, I don't think it really. As long as he's not killing people or harming people, I mean,
yes.
I don't know why it really matters what you're doing.
To the rational mind, he did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong, which would have been justified as being called a crime. But he was still persecuted. He was still had to go to court, and he ended up having to pay a fine of, I don't know, £8,000 or some shit. But anyway, the point, yeah, Count Dankula was his name. It says in the comments, Count Dankula lost, but he was given a fine instead of jail. Oh, so he lost. He was found guilty of a hate crime. There you go. So you now...
They talked it down. It's either if you plead not guilty, we're gonna press on you. If you plead not guilty, plead guilty and just pay this fine. So they're making it okay, regardless. If he claims that he's not guilty, he says, saying not guilty means I didn't do anything wrong. By him pleading guilty, says that he did something wrong, and he took that.
Yeah. Yeah,
but the way the court system works, dude, it's so fucked up. A lot of times you have to plead guilty to shit because if you go to trial and they fucking actually, you know, have some sort of evidence and the jury goes and sides with them, there's no more negotiations after that.
You're fucked.
And it's like the worst case fucking scenario, even if it's not really what it is. That's why there's a lot of people that you don't realize they're put in these situations where they're pleading to stuff, but really they didn't do it.
Well, talk to men that are going through family courts. They'll tell you nightmares.
Forget about that, dude. Talk about how about all these girls that all of a sudden said they've been raped 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's like
absolutely.
90 of them that line up. I don't, you know, honestly, listen, I think women are wonderful and stuff, but I just don't buy all this stuff. I mean, and now this goes to that you have to plead guilty, right? You got like 20 of them, let's just say, oh, I was raped. They're all raped. All of a sudden, what happened in the past 15, 20 years? Yeah. Why were you still talking to this guy then and hanging out with him afterwards? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, look,
but now you're in court, you know, like Weinstein, like he turned himself in and he had bail lined up for $2 million to get out, right? Because he pled guilty, because he's got like people saying that, you know, oh, I was raped by him. Oh, I was raped too, by the way. Sign me up. You know, like now you go to court, bro. The court's very, very fucking intricate. It's like you either say you're not guilty, and now you got to get proof. It's almost like you are guilty. You have to get proof, provide that you're not. Well, you know, that makes no sense. Like these women that say it's such a word.
How do you prove it from something 20 years ago? That's the problem.
You can't.
Right, but why are we going with their word?
Well,
right, plead guilty. We'll knock it down a little. Give us $2 million. You'll be out of here. But you have a record now.
Yeah.
Now you have a record. So if you do something stupid, you're not going to get off the hook.
And you set precedents.
You got your one strike.
And you set precedents in law, man. Which
setting a precedent.
You're setting a precedent in law.
Our law system, is so fucked up. It doesn't even make sense.
Okay, well, look, we can get more into that actually, because I'm going to touch on some recent articles on that subject. But I want to tell you something, Sovereign. Now that you're on a MGTOW channel, you're automatically a hater of women. So you better get used to that title. You now hate women.
I'm a what?
A hater of women. Because you're on a MGTOW channel. You are a hater of women. Embrace it.
Am I? I got to tell you, I love, I can't hate a woman, man. I love a woman.
Well, you're on this channel now, man. So you're on this channel.
Yeah. This is a pro-Sharia channel. Don't you forget it.
You don't. You know, you're guilty of rape already, simply for being on this channel.
Guilty. You're an incel, apparently.
Now I want
like the gas guy. Oh, dude, I didn't tell you, Nick. The guy at the gas station that I've been talking to and you talk to every now and then. Bro, 3 months ago, the guy's like, 3 guys from the military showed up here and they were going to kill me. And the guy's like, I had the American flag upside down. I'm like, dude, are you retarded? You're not even from this country. You're a Muslim and you're hanging the flag upside down. You really don't look good. And you're going to tell me you don't know that that's disrespectful? I'm like, you're fucking with me, right? He's like a stupid terrorist or something. I don't even know. The guy, he's just trouble. He really is.
Oh shit.
He's American now, that's for sure.
He is Americanized a little bit, but he wasn't born here, and he came here probably when he was like 30. But he fucks around, I think, you know.
Well, most
buttons.
immigrants, it should be noted that most immigrants are not here when they're young. They come here when they're much older. They get their citizenship when they're like in their 40s, a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, what do they call?
They want the
Okay.
American dream.
Well, this is
Yeah, they want the
American dream.
This is going back into Trump, actually, is and again, part of his platform was the whole immigrant thing. And when you're talking about immigrants that get their citizenship when they're fucking in their senior years, what did Obama call them? The dreamers?
Yeah.
No, the dreamers were people that came here with their parents.
The children, yeah.
They were pretty
The DACA
anchor
fuckers.
babies.
Yeah, the DACA
anchor
fuckers.
babies.
Yeah, and then
And
but
anchor babies.
but the problem is they never get their citizenship. They just keep being illegal, man.
Yeah, that's because they're fucking just so uneducated. They're lazy. They don't know what they're doing. It's like a mess. They just, think about the way their countries are. A lot of these countries, they're not really lawless, but they're just so unorganized and they're not well run, and it's just like a sloppy way of having a country ran. And they come here, and that's their mindset here, and they think it's okay to live like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't need a driver's license to drive. Why do I know how to drive a car?
Yeah.
And I don't have insurance. Next thing you know, you run over some kid. Now he's dead, and there's no one to pay for the medical bills and the funeral and all the fucking liability. The parents want to sue this person, and he has nothing.
Yeah.
Well, if the child was white, then it's a victory for the Democrats. It's one less Republican voter.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's
true.
their mindset. You have to understand the enemy, the people you're up against. That's their mindset.
Well, this is the reason Trump
Okay,
won.
I got a good question. Right, go ahead. Trump won, right? But
What's your question?
reading everyone's minds, right?
Yeah.
Why would he cap property taxes on every state?
I know. Yeah, I want to get into that. Go further into that.
Is that really a Trump? Is that the same Trump that was running for election?
Okay, hold
That
on.
was talking to the middle class?
Hold on, guys. Before we get into that, let me kind of because you're getting into stuff that I'm very curious about because I know very little about it. But in reference to discussing why Trump got into power and him being sort of the personification of like what the middle class or the working class was thinking, one of those things being obviously the immigration problem, which we brushed on. But now you want to get into property tax. Now, explain to me.
And mortgage interest.
Okay, good. Explain to me how that's related. I'm really curious.
This all comes into, it's like a two-part. You're killing two birds, one stone here. The American dream. What is the American dream? Mm-hmm. Do you have your own idea? What is it?
Okay, American dream. To be able to be independently wealthy. Within a
have a big house, a pool.
Yeah.
Have a big house, a pool, a dog, a family. That's it. The American dream.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a nice house and a pool in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
And all these things.
So
Trump is this middle class, right? Trump is supposed to be this middle class, strong, supporting president, but he caps your property tax as a deduction. So in America, if it's your primary home, your property tax that you pay is deductible on your personal tax return.
Okay.
Right? You can either do a standard deduction, which is a flat amount, or you can itemize deductions if you own a home, like repairs and maintenance, property tax, mortgage interest, other types of bills and hobbies and things. Mm-hmm. So he says, in America, again, I don't know what Canada's property taxes are like, but in America, after $10,000, you cannot deduct any more of that property tax off.
Okay.
So that's a pretty big deal when you live in New York, California, and a couple other areas.
Right.
And where I live on Long Island, and we're not rich, we are literally middle class. We have some nice stuff, but we're just getting by. If you lose your job, you're going to lose all your shit.
Right.
Property taxes range from like, 18 grand all the way up to $70,000 a year.
Okay.
So now you can't write. So on your tax return, let's say you made $100,000 at the end of the year.
Sorry, you broke up there.
Yeah.
Just repeat that again. You broke up. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was saying, let's say tax return made $100,000 a year, right?
Okay.
And you have $30,000 property tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can deduct that 30 against your $100,000 in income, and you'd only pay tax on $70,000.
Okay.
So
yeah.
in this instance, now with the new rule Trump has made, you would pay your $30,000 in property tax. You can only deduct $10,000 on your return against your $100,000, and now you're going to pay tax on $90,000. So not only did you pay more in property tax that you can't write off, you're going to pay more on your income tax because of this at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how this helps the middle class. I see how it helps the government become bigger and stronger. Again, now mortgage interest. Everyone in America fucking borrows, up to their eyeballs. Houses, cars, everything.
Yes.
So you buy a house. The average price right now is between $400,000 and $600,000 for a 3 or 4 bedroom house that's 20 years old and probably needs a little bit of work, to be honest with you.
Right.
So you can't write off more than $750,000 of mortgage interest. So if you take a loan that's over more than $750,000 to buy your home, you can't write off all of that mortgage interest.
Right.
And mortgage interest is astronomical because it's pretty high annual percentage yield over a 30-year term. $400,000 house, usually you're paying like between $200,000 and $300,000 over 30 years in interest. That used to be a deduction on your return. It still kind of is now, but you can't deduct up, more than the $750,000, which, you're not hitting the low-income people, but you're hitting the people that maybe are middle class that are just starting to do well.
Right.
You're kind of pulling back now the upper crust of the middle class, right, with that and also the property taxes. So as this guy voted, we all voted, and he was reading our minds and said he was supporting us. This sounds like a socialist liberal move.
Right.
We pay property tax because we're privileged to have a house. Well, you can't write it all off now. What? I've never seen a tax in my life that you pay that's not an expense. I mean, when you pay your income in your IRS and your
when
taxes
did he
on
do
your
that? When did he put that in?
He just did this a few months ago.
6 months ago.
Wow.
6 months ago? Not even, right.
Yeah,
so now for this year, for this tax filing season, it takes effect. This
Right.
is one of the most insane things I think I've ever seen before. But forget about Obamacare, because you know what? You could not have insurance and you pay a small fine. This is a big deal because people are going to get, a lot of people that make decent
And no
money.
one's talking about this. None of the Trump supporters are speaking about this.
No.
So they're doing the same shit that the Obama supporters did.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think they're asleep at the wheel.
All the talking heads.
It makes no sense.
All the talking heads. Okay, look, all the talking head Republicans, or let's say right-leaning, they don't even call themselves Republicans. They call themselves libertarians. That's the buzzword. That's what they want to be identified as. And I'm talking about the talking heads in social media, YouTube, that kind of platform. Not the mainstream media. Okay, the alternative media. All these Republican libertarian talking heads, as soon as this shit goes down, they're fucking mum. They're absolutely mum, man. They don't say a fucking word about it. It's incredible.
Yeah. So I don't, he says one thing. He got the answers he needed to win this election, but I don't think his actions truly align with what real middle class people really want.
Yeah.
I know that probably everyone in my family and all my friends and all of their family that own homes, they're going to be affected by this.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
100%. People are going to get less money on their tax return. And if they're self-employed and they pay taxes, they're going to have less expenses, so they're just going to pay more in taxes now.
Yeah.
While having the liability of owning a home, upkeeping the property, and everything else that comes along with it.
Yeah.
So this is really not a good thing. And, most people that have a brain that did vote for Trump would say this is not what I thought he would do.
Yeah, this is not what I voted for.
This is not a good... This is something that Hillary would have done.
Yeah.
So it just makes me believe that the agenda is there. It's just a talking face. Mm-hmm. Whichever one you like personality-wise more, you pick him, and he's just going to follow the lines. He's following the script.
Whoever's mined the most data and used it effectively.
Yeah, whoever's got more money and shows that they know how to use it the right way.
Yeah.
You win, but you still have to do what we say.
Yeah, absolutely. And because the again, Trump was supposed to be the antithesis to Obama, and because he was voted for because he represented what the average American wanted. And he knew it, and like we said, he knew it because he mined the data. But because of that, now he is going back on his word, which isn't a surprise. It's not a surprise to the intelligent. And another thing that he hasn't done is there's no wall, right? I mean,
I don't think we're getting a wall. I think they'll just talk about it, but like all talk, no action. He says, well, that's easy to do about the wall.
Yeah, there's not going to be a wall, and that's to me that's going to kill him in the next in the next election. I think.
Well, the Democrats have nobody. They can't. Bernie Sanders is going to be 80 years old. It's not happening, and so is Joe Biden. So right now, the Democrats are kind of rudderless compared to the Republicans.
You know who they're going to throw up there is Oprah.
I think Trump will win the re-election again.
Oh,
Yeah, Trump will win again.
Who's his opponent going to be? Oprah?
I think it's pretty rare that someone loses, during the second run. How many times has that happened in history? I mean, I don't think it's happened that much.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, very few.
Very few, eh?
Yeah.
When was the last single term?
Yeah, you got...
Bush Senior.
Yeah, the one that funded the Holocaust.
Bush Senior.
Wall Street private banking money. It's actually a fact. It's not even a joke.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bush Senior was the last of single-term president?
Yeah, and then before him was Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter, okay. Nixon did 2? 1.5?
But Nixon was impeached, so that doesn't count.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What Democratic president? You know what I'm wondering right now? When was there a Democratic president in office where there was a huge war or a catastrophic event that took place?
Give me a second. That would be LBJ.
And how long ago was
Vietnam. Vietnam.
Yeah, okay. Because I was just thinking to myself, you got the Holocaust with George Sr. You got the Twin Towers blown up with his son. I mean, the apple ain't falling far too far from the tree with destruction there.
Yeah.
And now we got a Republican back in with Trump, and everyone thinks we're going to war. And maybe we're gonna. Maybe we're gonna be a wild event. Because I feel like every time something fucked up happens, there's usually a Republican in office. Like, something really bad.
True. Good point.
Yeah. What do you think?
Now
Okay,
I'm getting nervous.
Let's make predictions.
I better get my bunker set up.
Let's make predictions. What's the worst that can happen?
Right before the midterms. Right before the next election. The fucking North Koreans are going to launch a rocket. They're going to try and fucking shoot one at us probably. Hopefully we'll get it out of the air and intercept it. But, I mean, that's probably the most likely thing to happen. Unless Russia, we have more problems with Russia. But
So
I don't know.
That's a good point. Maybe before the second term, in order to kind of really rally up votes for him, wave the American flag. Something will happen with Korea. Because here's another thing he's backpedaling on. You remember about like a month ago or a month and a half ago when the headlines were like Trump creates peace in the Korean Peninsula. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was only a couple of weeks ago.
Was it a couple of weeks ago? It's just like this shit's like a flash in the pan.
Not even.
Trump
You
creates peace.
you got to realize Trump. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Trump creates peace in the Korean Peninsula, and then fucking a week later, it's like, nope, that's not happening now.
We're not having the summit. We're not having the Korean summit anymore.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck,
He's pissed.
man?
Yeah, you know what it is? You got to realize a man like Trump, like we were saying, he does what he has to do to win, right? He's been thinking about the re-election already. He has enemies and friends that he uses at the same time to pull strings for him to win and get what he needs. So maybe a resolution with North Korea right now might not be good because that will die out before the elections and more news will come out, about something else or him doing something wrong.
True.
So he can manipulate. Listen, when you're a salesperson, because that's what he really is, and a businessman, it's all about manipulating things in your favor to get what you want. And he's going to do something with North Korea, but he's going to wait a little bit. He doesn't want to give that card up yet, out of his hand.
Right.
Maybe he showed us one of his cards, and now he's got it back in his hand, and he probably has a few other ones. And you'll maybe see that he starts, getting rid of some, and maybe the next 3 to 6 months he'll start unfolding things, get people ready to go for the next year.
Yeah. So
let me interject here.
Go ahead.
Sovereign made a good point maybe about 6 months ago that if you haven't noticed, Trump hires and fires many people. I mean, he's eaten through so
using
many
them. That's what I said. He takes you and exploits you for your ability, and then once he's done, he gets rid of you. That is the term for that is called burn and churn. That's what large corporations do, and he's a prime example of it.
Well, he would know. He would know how.
Look what happened with Scaramucci, the mooch from Manhasset.
But you know what? He did this.
Yeah, go on.
Go.
He brought in Scaramucci to find out who the rat was in the Trump administration. He found the rat. The rat was fired. The guy's name is slipping my mind right now, but he fires the guy, and then Scaramucci's out of a job. Mooch, the Mooch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. Look at his business practices. They're the exact same way. That you have to realize who you're dealing with here. You have to always identify the person, whether it's your opponent or friend. Once you're able to identify them correctly, you know what type of moves they're going to make.
Right.
And that's the type of deal maker he is. He takes you for whatever he can use from you, and then when you're done, that's it. Moving on to the next, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great strategy.
It's a good business strategy.
It's a very selfish one, and you know, you don't give a fuck about anyone else. I mean, it's not good for humanity, but you know, if you're selfish and greedy and you want to succeed, sure. Will you have a lot of friends and businesses that'll vouch for you in the end? Probably not, you know. But greed is what's been ruining the world anyway over all these years. I mean, look at Apple, for Christ's sakes. You can't even charge your phone and put headphones in your phone anymore. You have to decide, battery's dying, do I want to listen to music for 5 more minutes, or do I want to not listen to music and just plug my phone in? And now I got some weird jack that's in the thing that, you know, can only buy their, you know, headphones and chargers because it's a fucking weird Apple charging system.
I mean, buying Apple, it's beyond me.
Hold on, guys, hold on a second.
Yes.
Hold on a second. Sorry, technical difficulties. I just want to inform you. Our stream keeps dropping in and out. Now, there's not a hell of a lot I can do about it. Are you guys still there? I'm going to ask the peanut gallery if they can still hear us. Are you guys? I'm asking the the people in the comments. People in the, you guys in the comments, can you hear us still? He says we're all cutting out. Yeah, we're cutting out, but it says my video output is low. But we are still live. We are still live, so that's a good thing. I don't know. You know, I just to kind of
cuts in and we'll just go to a commercial.
All right, okay, let's do that right now. Okay, you guys, we're gonna hit a commercial for about 3.5 minutes. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Just stay tuned. We're gonna go to a commercial. We'll be right back.
That's the sound I love. Kills lots of brain cells in a funny, happy way. It's entirely legal thanks to a loophole of the FDA.
Whether you're at a family reunion or hanging out before the show, have some giggle cream with everything. It'll make you talk real low.
That's the sound I love.
Giggle cream. It makes dessert funny.
Howdy. Welcome to Farewell Ranch. They say the golden years are the best years of your life, but for many seniors, they just stink up the house and make the grandkids feel uncomfortable with unwanted affection. Now, your old people can be earning you money and enjoying the final years of Farewell Ranch. It's a working farm, cattle ranch, and crematorium where the cowboys are all over 75. They'll enjoy rodeos, working in the fields, and tending all the final resting places of their new friends on Sunshine Hill. Farewell Ranch works your loved ones from sun up to sundown, and when your loved one passes away, we'll send you a presentation package VHS with the spurs and boots they were wearing as they went on to a better world. Our residents sure love it here. Right, Norm?
Is this WW2?
Farewell Ranch, the only way to ride into the sunset.
How do you like to enjoy a Rusty Brown's Ring Donut?
I like to lick lovingly around the outside and then thrust my tongue in the middle.
I like to munch it vigorously.
I just love the batter all over my face.
On Friday nights, I just can't stop eating Rusty Brown's Ring Donuts.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Sometimes I like to wear women's panties and walk around 5th Street.
When you go downtown, make sure you enjoy Rusty Brown's Ring Donuts.
He was just the boy next door.
Hi, well, hello there, Danny. I didn't know it was hockey season.
Hey, can I borrow a knife?
A deadly curse, a deranged killer, a small town in tears. Knife After Dark, rated R for retarded.
65 bracelets, dirty street trash clothing, something missing?
Complete the look.
Complete the look with a single-hand fingerless lacy glove at Vice City's one-stop shop for people who know underwear should be worn on the outside.
Wow, you look trendy.
Complete the look.
Complete the
We have some sad news for you. Rock and roll is dead and pop is in! Why not discover the excitement of the science of music yourself at Synth & Son, the home of keyboards? Thanks to the science of music, you don't need musical talent to make great music. Just listen. I created that just by pressing a button. Synthesizers are the new wave. Why work hard on difficult compositions when a machine can make music better than you've ever dreamed of? You'll be the hit of the party. It's perfect for in-restaurant entertainment, cover bands, and funerals. Make fugues funky and death marches danceable. It's the science of music at Synth & Son. Remember, you don't know you're a musician until you try. This Friday night, it's the incredible sitcom that has captured America's heart and given the whole country a new catchphrase.
But I'm 42!
Just the five of us. After a mix-up at the adoption agency, the Chesterfields came home with 3 zany new house guests.
Jimmy, tidy your room and go to bed.
I'm so sick of this. I keep telling you I've got a rare disease. I look 12, but I'm a 42-year-old investment banker. I want to go out and get laid.
Oh, yeah, and I'm Santa Claus. Now, tidy your room.
Asshole.
Sean, our posh suburban home must be a welcome change from that alley you were sleeping in.
I really enjoy living here, but there's not enough booze.
It's the funniest, most touching half hour on television.
Charlotte, what's that smell?
I set the couch on fire again.
Yeah, I can help you with that.
And this week, it's a very special Just the Five of Us, where an attractive blonde lady tries to steal Jimmy away.
Now you're talking.
Just the Five of Us. Friday nights on VBS.
All right, we're back, everybody. Sorry about that. We needed to take a little commercial break just to make sure that our programs are running. Stream is still running. It says it's healthy, with a big question mark beside it. But let's get back into where we were going with Trump, and before we drift into the next topic, and we were discussing the property tax thing. Let's go back to that, Sovereign.
Yeah. So, besides this property tax cap and mortgage interest cap, I mean, a part of the American dream is not just having a house, but it's having a pool to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you get a pool, your property taxes get reassessed, and they are increased under luxury tax,
right?
Which I think is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is.
You're already paying for your property tax, and the square footage of your house, the living space, is what's taxable. Why does a pool that goes in your backyard make a difference? It's a hole in the ground that you fill with water. I mean, in layman's terms.
You're working your way
you
up.
You can see that they sell you. Well, the truth really is that the American dream is the dream the government sold to you so you can pay the government.
Yeah, absolutely.
The American dream is not really the American dream. It's really the government's fucking scam. They want you to buy a house to pay the taxes on their land that they own when you don't even own the land.
No, you don't own
You don't pay your taxes or you lose your land. The same way if you were to rent a house, if you don't pay, you get kicked out. You actually have more rights renting and not paying rent than owning a property and not paying your taxes. You'll stay longer. Believe this or not.
It's so true.
You could own your house, and when you don't pay your taxes, you're going to lose that house pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're in a house where you rent, you can always negotiate a deal with the landlord, but usually they can't just throw you on the street right away, especially if you have a wife and kids and things like that.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to court.
Yeah.
And it's got to be reasonable, and they got to help you find a new place and before you can move. The government ain't going to be like that when you don't pay your taxes. They're going to fucking come in, kick your ass out, and lock the house down.
Yeah.
That's it. Goodbye. So, the government wants, the government's a business. Look at it like that. So they have a business. What can we sell to the people where we can get a residual stream of money coming in?
And now they have a businessman as a president.
Homes. Right. So I think, to be honest with you, I mean, listen, I liked Trump at first. I didn't know about this Analytica Cambridge thing until a few months ago. And now I say to myself, now I understand why every time he said something in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, this guy, I feel like he's me. because he had everyone's he had the majority of everyone's information.
Because he was looking at your Facebook page, man.
Yeah, right. He doesn't even need mine. All he needs to do is take, a couple million people, categorize them, because the truth is majority of people really all think the same. Most of them. And you can still subcategorize the few that don't. So you know where the majority feels and what the important topics are for everybody to touch on. So that's what was done. But I think our biggest mistake is that because he got in, and he is a very smart businessman, but more like a selfish, cutthroat one, he can really fuck the American people because he knows exactly how to make money and where to take it. Where a lot of people like Obama and these other idiots that got in, they are not as to be honest, they're not that. They might be articulate and they could talk, but they're not that smart when it comes to stuff. They're not business savvy. They don't understand the cash flow of a business and how to, extract, portions of the revenue. And when it comes down to it, the biggest business in America is going to be real estate. That is the bread and butter of the country because every family has a house, and they all pay property tax. Yeah, right. And automobiles. I mean, our roadways were supposedly designed by automakers.
Yeah, the new world, man. We're the new world. I mean, the new world was basically, hey, look at this big fucking piece of property nobody owns. We're gonna fucking take it.
Well, hey, on a side note, and also speaking to Trump, is the way Trump was able to accumulate all of his wealth was by tricking black people. He would send his minions out to low-income neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Manhattan and Harlem and these places, and they would pitch the idea, hey, look, black person, stop paying your taxes, but keep paying your mortgage, and it'll work in your favor because it's harder. He would tell them it's harder for the government to take your house if you stop paying your mortgage. He reversed it on them. And obviously, it's the complete opposite. You have to pay your taxes first before the mortgage, before you default on your mortgage. They would lose the house. Trump would go in and take city blocks, and buy them by tricking minorities.
Wow.
Well, that's definitely true. I would believe that's true because even in today's times, if you can't afford your mortgage anymore, the bank pays the taxes on your behalf and your insurance because the bank don't want to lose the fucking house that they gave you money to borrow because the bank wants to get it before the government.
Yeah.
So if the big bank is paying the taxes, there's no exception to the rule.
No, there's no relief. There's no respite. As that. Yeah, there's no respite from that. Not a chance, man.
Right, so Trump would go in and take it from the bank quickly before the government would.
Wow.
No, the short sale.
Yeah, you buy it on a short sale. Yep.
Huh. Well, this is the situation we're in. I mean, let's look at it this way. I think the lesson that is being taught here to us and to the listeners through our conversation is that basically the people that we elect let's call them our masters, they know us better than we know them, and they literally can read your mind. So there's really nothing you can do to hide from them. Absolutely nothing.
There are things you can do. There are some things, and we should talk about that shortly.
Okay. But, let's get into that, and let's drift into the next topic called.
Wait! Before we get into what he wants to get into, because you still got a little bit of time. What about millennial monopoly? What's going to happen to people under the age of 30, 35? Millennials. What's going to happen to them, Stavern? And I want you to repeat what you told me and what brought you onto this live stream tonight.
Right. Well, millennial monopoly. It's a very simple game. The board starts on fire. Real estate is millions and millions of dollars, and you make $10 an hour. So you have no money. Everything's really expensive, and everything around you is basically on fire, burning down, collapsing. That's a quick snapshot of what millennial monopoly really is. Look at society. I mean, not to go back to the old topic, but if you see what's really taking place is that we are on a very slow transition. It's called a generational transition back to a totalic society. Mm-hmm. Before you know it, you're going to have a king, right? It might not be me, it might not be my kids, but it might be their kids.
Trump is king.
You go back 50 years from now, Well, you got to realize they slowly implement one law that makes, a decent change, not a decent change, but it makes an effective change that we're uncomfortable with. But the human is known to adapt to uncomfortable things, right? That's what the human is capable of. But if you look, go back just 20, 30 years, right? First they banned magazines on guns, automatic guns. Then the Twin Towers fell for like the second time. Now that the government has the Patriot Act, they can spy on you. You have to look at a long timeline. It's a very slow transition, almost like how they say an ape turns into a human, right? Like through a long time transitioning. So our government they're smart. They're doing it where it doesn't affect one generation because that would be a radical change and they would obviously see it. So they do it on a slow scale, right? So for our parents, it was a reduction and restriction on firearms. It was the ability to listen in and spy on you because of the terrorism, right? And then they're basically on their way out now. They got another 20 years or so max. And then we're going to be up next. You know, what are we going to do to the next generation so we can continue to restrict their liberties and go more back to a totalitarian style society?
Monarchy.
Because, well, listen, man, you know.
That's where we came from.
We can, but we really are going back. The thing is, they think they're tricking us because they're doing it very slowly. But the truth is, they have a starting point. It could have been the 1900s, and their end point might be 2100. They have it on the map already because you can tell everything they have done since even this country was established. Everything they've been doing has not been giving us more rights or more freedoms and liberties. It's just been hindering and restricting, and they're doing it obviously right. Listen, realize these people are not stupid. Okay, they all have masters and doctorates. They're all attorneys and doctors, and they work in Congress. Okay, I'm not even smart enough to know how to work and get into Congress. Okay, so they got to be smart. I think I'm pretty smart. So they're way, way more intelligent. They know what they're doing. They didn't pass the bill by accident. They didn't not understand what they were signing into law. They know what to do. They want to control you. They really want you to be a slave. They want to own you, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
So what about this wedding in England? Right after that wedding, didn't they just like announce 30 minutes after the wedding that they put a freeze on all benefits or some shit?
Wait a second.
After this $1 million wedding in with the prince,
right?
I didn't. 30 minutes later, they announced that they're cutting all benefits and freezing them. I'm not even kidding.
In the UK?
What benefits?
Google this right now.
Okay. What? Okay. Benefits.
Government benefits, welfare benefits, whatever the fuck they have.
This is in the UK. Benefits cut after
froze.
A little dose of royalty for you. Fuck you and your benefits.
I guess we know who paid for her dress now. That was supposedly like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? The people. People just.
What do you mean Stephen Colbert was at the wedding? Everyone was there. We all love Ellen DeGeneres. She was there crying, wasn't she?
You know, I didn't watch any of that, and I thank God I didn't, because that's shit. But hey,
I didn't watch any of that shit neither. But I saw this headline come through, and I was like, oh my God.
Okay,
how can this country sit back and be okay with this?
I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to read the article I just found and share it with the viewers as well as you guys. Okay. All right, so here's the article I found, the first one in the Google search. Government confirms freeze on working age benefits minutes after Prince Harry wedding news revealed.
Yeah.
How ridiculous. And you guys probably thought I was making this shit up. I mean, that is just disgusting. It really is. That guy could have not got 5 different kids and he could have gave these people their benefits. You know, so what is it? It says age working benefits, so it's for older people.
We're on working age. Let me read some of this article here so we can understand what's going on. So the government has confirmed it will be freezing benefits until 2020, costing a typical working family around £300 per year. Caroline Dinenage, a work and pensions minister, said the freeze for working age people who receive benefits will go on even as the state pension and some other benefits increase by 3% in line with inflation. This will be a real terms cut in income of £350 a year, which is probably like fucking $500 American dollars.
It's about 500.
For the typical working family with 2 children, as the cost of living will eat further into their income.
Yeah, that's a dinner. It's a dinner a month, basically $40 for a family.
Yeah.
You know, not an expensive one, but a working family, $40 every month. You're gonna lose one dinner now every month, basically, for you and your kids.
Wow.
Because the royal wedding needed to be top notch. You know, they had to get that special fucking lobster tail.
Well, here.
Hey, listen. I wanted to interject. Rico's right. We are the government. The government is a reflection on the society and culture of its people. So if the government is completely going off the rails, you are going off the rails.
I disagree. You know what? It takes a special type of fucking idiot to run for presidency. First of all, Rico, I think you're wrong, because that's like saying that this guy's a killer. Society, we're all killers. It doesn't work like that. There are certain people that do sales. There are certain people that do hospitality, and there are certain people that are doctors, and certain people that care and you do philanthropy.
Mm.
So the people that run for government most of the time are not normal people. So you can't possibly say that this is a reflection of society. So society, you're trying to tell me, is controlling, greedy, reckless, and they're just really bad. Because
yes, I do. I do say that.
I don't think so. I think that there are plenty of people that are not like that.
Real quick, I want to digress for a moment. Rico drives an M2 BMW. How was your car, Sovereign, against an M2 BMW?
oh, he has the same car? Rico has the same car?
No, he hasn't.
No. I have a CPSV. I don't know. I think my car's an M5 competitor, to be honest with you. It's not really comparable. It's not really a fair.
You're saying you dropped a Bitcoin bag on an M2?
I don't know. Listen, M2 is a very small car. You got to be a really small person to get that.
It's a good car. BMW M2 is a fucking great car.
I don't know. M2, dude, you know how small an M2 is? You might as well drive a motorcycle. It's like a smart car. It's like a faster smart car. It's fucking tiny. You can't put anyone in the back seat. Why did they put a back seat there? You can't sit in the front seat if you're more than 5'11".
For your groceries.
Why didn't you just take the back seat out and just make it a 2-seat car so someone my size, 6'1", can fit inside of it? It's retarded.
All right. Back on. Where were we?
Okay,
Sorry.
well, hold on. Let me go into the chats here.
Sorry to hurt your feelings, BMW fanboy.
That's Rico. Rico's one of our moderators. Okay, so we got the Fuzz here.
Man.
The Fuzz says, I disagree. There's still much we can do to counteract government. It just takes some imagination. They might They might know our psychology, but studying government psychology is not impossible.
Not if you
reverse.
dilute the hegemony.
That's like saying the Jews had a chance against the Nazis. Come on.
Yeah, it's true.
Like the dumbest thing I ever fucking heard. There was not. Think about it. It's like there's a small group that has an advantage that can control a larger group. Look at a herd of fucking sheep. It takes 1 or 2 sheepdogs to fucking round them up, dude.
Yeah.
That's totally wrong. Again, I totally disagree with you on that.
Well,
the government has every tool at its disposal to do whatever they want if you don't listen to them. They could tax you to death. They could give you tickets that you can't afford. They could take your car, your home, fucking beat you up and say that you tried to shoot them.
Oh, yeah. They could just make you disappear.
You're not going to get in trouble.
They could just make you disappear,
right.
man. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So you're playing against, it's like going into a fight. The kid's 5 years old and you're fucking 30. And you're going to fight. It's like almost a joke. It's not fair.
Yeah, well, I kind of disagree with you. There's been plenty of situations where governments have been taken down because of peasant rebellions.
Yeah. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, dude. You're talking about fucking a long, long time. Today, it don't work like that. The government's too intertwined.
It's never been tried. It's never been tried, so how would you know?
Right. Okay, so where would you go to take over the government and overthrow it? Where would you go? What location? Who would you go for? Tell me exactly how it would work, because it wouldn't work. The government is too big and too diverse, and it's not transparent enough for anyone to come in and take control of it. Doesn't work like that. It's not like there's a lever that you just get into the main office and pull it, and you say government's now turned off. It doesn't work like that.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
There's contingent plans. There's people that take place of the president, the vice president, and the military could step right on in as well. And
guys,
listen to what whoever is next in power in the government.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think our stream. No, we're still good. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
We're okay. I sound here, everybody.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you there, Sovereign. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It looks good on paper, but people not think into details enough, or they're not really that analytical. All I said was, man, there's not a lever that you pull just to turn the government off. Well, you're going to go in. You're not taking. You look at Trump, right? He said he was going to do all these things, and if he truly did try, he still couldn't do it because everyone disagrees with him. That's the way the government is designed. It's designed so you
Right.
cannot overthrow
He's
it.
He's not a benevolent dictator, right?
Yeah, but
there's only been
even
a
if
few
you
of those in
dude,
world history. There's only been
it
very
wouldn't
few.
even work if he was. The rest of the government wouldn't sign into law a lot of shit. They would try to repeal it and override it. It wouldn't work. You're talking about brute force? We have no chance against our own military. Dude, they could just cut off the food supply to the fucking state if they wanted to. They just fly out the governor and the mayor, take care of them and whatever the senators are, and now they got control over a state. I mean, they do it when there's a snowstorm. They call it a state of emergency. They got the military rolling around like we're about to go to war because we got 3 inches of snow. It's like what the fuck? Are you serious? When I was a kid, we used to get multiple feet of snow, and we driving quads and snowmobiles on the streets, and nobody cared.
Wait a second.
This is my point.
You guys have
transition into taking away your rights and your powers, and then
you guys have military presence when it snows,
dude.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
now we go.
It wasn't always like this. This is my point.
Yeah.
My point is that people are not fucking awake. I'm a very analytical person. I'm very detail driven. So when I make a decision, I'm usually correct about it because I look very, very deep into shit. So all I'm trying to say is that as a kid growing up, there was never a time where you weren't allowed to go outside your house and drive your car or walk around in the snow.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember being on a snowmobile stepdad when I was like 8 years old, and we drive it up to Taco Bell because there was over a foot of snow. And a snowmobile, you're not driving it with 3 inches of snow on the street. You're going to ruin it. So there was a good amount of snow on the ground, and we would drive up literally to Taco Bell, grab some food, and fucking be out. No one's going to bother you, and a cop would be stupid to try and chase you because he has no chance. So those days are like gone. It doesn't. Now you're not even like allowed to be outside your house after like 10 o'clock or 9:30, unless it's for like unless you're going to the hospital or you work for the hospital, basically, or if you're a cop. You know, and you know, I know that they're doing these tests because they want to get people comfortable with this taking place. It's kind of like you know, when you push your boundaries with someone, you test them. You don't really mean it, but you say it to see their reaction, right? You're just testing the waters. You're testing and testing this. Something that happens trivially, and that's.
Hey, hold up, Sovereign. Wait a second. You're breaking up.
You're breaking up, man. Just hold on.
Yeah.
Digressing for a moment, he is. It's the frog, the boiling frog analogy is basically what he's saying. How look at the Boston bombing was a good example. Emergency lockdown. They called it a military. Sorry, feedback.
You need to go get farther away from him.
I'm going away. All right?
He keeps walking towards me.
Yes,
just walking around.
Bombing was the perfect example of they initiated martial law, and they started sending Humvees and personnel carriers, APCs, driving up and down streets. You know, tanks. Get back in your house. This is a state of emergency. Lo and behold, the kid who did the bombing was caught by a guy who broke the martial law. He went outside and smoked a cigarette and saw blood on his boat and realized that someone was hiding inside of his boat. So it wasn't even the government that found the guy, that found the terrorist or whatever you want to call him.
The kid
government
that did the bomb. Well, here the Fuzz says the slow strategy you're talking about is called Fabian socialism. It's action by slow stealth, spread out between generations so as to be imperceptible. That's how Fabian, a war general, I believe, won his
Very
battles.
interesting.
Yeah. Fabian
Who
socialism.
said this in the chat? Fabian said this?
The Fuzz. The Fuzz.
The Fuzz, you're a smart man. I didn't know the name of it. I just understood what was being done. And that's very interesting. So, I mean, it's even proven right there that that's exactly how it works. You know, even talking to my grandfather, you'd go back another generation before my father. He told me that back in his time, I mean, the cops would literally pay him because he was a cement truck driver. They would pay him so they could park their car behind like piles of sand and just sleep during the day. You know, or I mean, another story is he was driving his cement truck down the street and some guy fucking left the car in the middle of the street. I swear to you, he drove. The cop says, "Hold on 1 second." And the cop tells him to drive into the back of the car and smash it onto the curb. So the car was wrecked, pushed onto the fucking curb, and the cop fucking said, "All right, you can go now." Like, dude, you would never, dude. You see something like that today, you'll have like 100 cop cars around you.
Right.
Literally. You know what I mean? Like, the times are changing, man, and people need to talk to either their dad or their grandparents if they're around still, or talk to someone that's, you know, a generation older than you, a friend.
Yeah.
Listen to people's stories. People aren't making shit up. They're telling you how life was for them. That's why they're so bitter about the world today. Because life really was a great, great thing.
It was better.
You know,
definitely.
50 years ago. Much better. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So
much better. You could drag race down the fucking street back then, too. Today, you go to jail if you try that.
Well,
no joke. You will be arrested here.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, the Fuzz says all rebellions are tax rebellions. And I agree with that statement. I mean, when it comes down to it, rebellions are basically all tax rebellions. But I have to say, interject here as well, is that everything you're saying resonates with me. And I think it resonates with most of the people that listen to my show, because MGTOW is basically saying the exact same things, but on a different battlefield, and that battlefield is the battlefield of the sexes. It's an understand
the ladies.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's basically that. Everything you're saying, that's why it resonates with me, because on my channel, we don't. I mean, I'm drifting into other topics, like that's why we're talking to you about this kind of stuff. But really. Yeah, sure. Really, you know, MGTOW does deal with these exact same things, but more focused on the battlefield of the sexes that is happening today. So, I mean, it's fantastic. I think it's great, the information that's being handed out here. And what do you think about that? All rebellions being tax rebellions. Sovereign.
I guess. I mean, I guess I would agree with that as well.
Religious rebellions.
Religious rebellions. Well, tax and religion go together pretty good, man. I'm telling you.
Borders, resources.
Actually,
there's
religions actually get tax exemptions, don't they?
Yep.
Churches
absolutely.
don't pay property tax. They pay almost like nothing, right?
Yeah.
Priests don't pay income tax.
No.
Yeah, it's like a sheltering. I'm going to open up a church next. I'll start running a lot of donations through it.
Well, you know who did a good job at that was...
donate to his next car.
Yeah. You know who did a good job of that was, what's his name from L. Ron Hubbard, man. L. Ron Hubbard.
What did he do?
He created Scientology. The author.
Oh.
The science fiction author. Yeah, the science fiction author L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, but that's a whole weird belief system, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's tax exempt.
I guess that's good. It's like a tax-free shelter for business.
Yeah, man.
Right. It's a good fucking point. Yeah. People don't realize, it's a good point to look at. All right. People don't realize, maybe it was really designed as a get-around, you know? These people just like to travel together and have a lot of fun, and they have a lot of common interests, so they, created a group, and they make large donations, which are deductible off their tax return, that go here, and they all do trips and party and go out and do shit, maybe. Who the hell knows? But you could do that.
Yeah.
You can get away with it, I guess.
Well, look, if you're creating a culture of tax, I mean, and you're justifying it, a nation in a culture of tax, then you need a back door. You have to have a back door, especially if you're the ones creating that culture. And
there's more than that back door. There's so many ways that you cannot pay tax. People just aren't intelligent enough to figure it out. You create an offshore corporation. You don't have to pay tax on the money unless you bring it back to the U.S., like repatriate it, bring it back, right? So you can have an offshore corporation that's a servicing entity. Services policies, does whatever it's want,
Wait a second.
You feed it $10,000 a month. That's an expense for you, and it's an income for that.
So how do you do that? How do you do that? You set up an account offshores.
Well, all right. So what you would do is you go to a couple of islands like Nevis Island or Cayman Island. There's a couple of islands that are really good. Mm-hmm. They don't really answer to the United States government, but there is the new FACT bullshit thing where they'll cut the funding if they don't cooperate. So you open up a corporation. The corporation has a nominee. That nominee is basically the person that shows up on the filing of the corporation's name. It does not show up there. You have an agreement with them outside of the corporation's name that this is your corporation, and they're handling the money the way that you want them to handle it. So you open up the corporation there. The corporation opens up an account, a bank account now. They're in that country.
Okay, so you can use the same corporate name as you do inside the United States, as you'd use the same name with the offshore account?
You have to see. I mean, I don't know if you would use the same name, but you can make a name. I mean, it depends if the name's available.
Okay,
there's people that have it already.
Okay, I get it. Okay. Okay.
You can't get it. But, for sake, you could say, yeah, it's AM Sirias International Inc.,
right,
broadcasting company. And you just pay that corporation like it's doing a service for you, broadcasting your live streams.
Mm-hmm.
And the income you made here is going to that corporation in another country now, which is under a different which is under another person's name.
Mm-hmm.
And that money you don't pay tax on is in many of these offshore corporations. If you're not a resident of that country, you don't pay tax.
Right.
So you're exempt from paying taxes, which means you never have to file a return there, which means there's no real proof that you're making money in another country.
Right.
So, there's no paper trail now.
Yeah.
So, so the money bill there, and you get the money out of the country or that corporation for it to come to you to claim as income. So it stays there and grows tax-free. Buy real estate now with that corporation. Invest in the market with it. Keep your money. That's how it works. Now you have greater asset protection, and this is also one of the things how you can protect yourself from the United States government. If, let's say, you run someone over with your car and they're trying to sue you and they're going to take, they're going to get a lot of money. Well, if you have all of your assets in an offshore corporation, even divorce, they're not getting it. The government cannot get it.
Nice.
They cannot go to another country and knock down that bank's door and say, give us the money, like that. That's what a lot of people do. Usually the really wealthy people do it because they're fucking intelligent enough to figure it out. I've read into it
Panama
a lot.
Papers, man.
Well, that was more like that was a blackmail, okay? That was a straight-up blackmail, and they did that intentionally. And that's only one place. That was one little law firm, Panama Papers. And it was a law firm, something Fonseca, something in Panama. So, yeah, that was basically it. There was an attorney that did the corporations and the banking. He knew his shit, and he protected people's assets. That's all that was.
Sovereign, why don't we tell Ayam about the Phoenix Foundation?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, you tell them about it.
Phoenix Foundation was going to be a libertarian utopia. This guy from Arizona, I think he was from Arizona. I'm trying to recall, but in the 70s, this guy wanted to take a sandbar and dump dirt and more sand and build his own island and make it like a tax haven libertarian utopia.
Nice. What was it called again? Phoenix?
The Phoenix Foundation.
Phoenix Foundation.
Nice. Okay. And then?
There's been many different types of attempts to get around the system, and we will be getting into Bitcoin shortly. But I want to go back to the concept of millennial monopoly and how the next generation has very little hope and a future, and we can lump this into what was just in the news today or the last few days. Ayam was the 30-year-old from New York getting kicked out of his parents' house.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Let's get back to the millennial monopoly. Now, again, you did say, Sovereign, that it was basically a monopoly board on fire. Everything's too expensive. Everything costs thousands of dollars. You only make $10 an hour. This is the game. Now, I want to share with our listeners one specific article that I'm sure you are aware of that came up. The news was just a couple days ago. The one I have is May 22nd. And let me just first share the screen, and then we'll get everybody on board here. So the article is, Judge in New York rules 30-year-old son will be evicted from parents' home. Now, again, this is close to you guys. This is in New York.
So where was this?
Upstate New York.
Okay, well, let me read a little bit, and then we'll discuss it here. It took numerous eviction notices and even an offer of money to leave, but after a month-long effort, a 30-year-old will now have to leave his parents' home after a judge ruled in favor of an eviction order. Okay, first of all, did I tell you? Can we assume? I already told you, but if I was to just read you the title, Judge in New York rules 30-year-old child will be evicted from parents' home, would you be able to guess the gender?
Male.
Yeah, of course. You would say it's a male, right? So you'd obviously be able to guess the gender. You wouldn't. They don't even need to say son. Everybody reading this would be able to guess the gender. So it's a male. It says here, Mike Rotundo appeared in the Supreme Court of New York State for about 30 minutes on Tuesday after a petition had been filed by his parents stating they wanted their son to leave. Now, I have a number of things I want to address in regards to this specific article. But before I do, I want to throw it over to you again, Sovereign, and how do you think this ties into the millennial monopoly?
Yeah, well, I mean, these parents, they don't really understand what the times are really like to grow up in. You know, you can see something, but unless you actually live it or do it, you don't really know, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can see many things, but experiencing it and living through it's totally different, right? I mean, I could use porn as an example. You could watch it, but fucking is nothing like watching it. It's much better.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different experience. So for them, you know, they got their home. They understand. To them, it was a struggle to buy it. It was $30,000. Now it's $500,000.
Well, now they're kicking them out. Now they're kicking them out.
They're basically, yeah, they're making the money they made is relative to what, you know, is to what you're making today, but they were making it 30 and 40 years ago. You know, like I talked to my dad a couple weeks ago, and he says, you know, I used to clam and I used to make $1,000 a week back in the 80s. And I'm like, that's like making fucking like $5,000, $6,000 a week, dude. That's like big money today. And that was a lot of money then, but back then it was easier to do that, and things were really fucking cheap. So you're making $1,000 back then a week, but a house was literally $25,000. Like,
yes,
that's nuts. You make $5,000, you know. Now you still can't buy a house.
Well, that's
you know,
that's how much I paid for my house in Indonesia in 2006. Yeah, I paid $25,000 for a house in Indonesia in 2006.
Wow.
Right, the co-op my parents grew up. The co-op I grew up in my childhood. My father sold it for $65,000. It's now worth $500,000, and that was less than 20 years
times.
ago.
Yeah,
10
fucking times.
Yeah.
Well,
has anyone's salaries gone up 10 times?
No. Well,
that's the point.
Here's another example. My mother's house, the house that I grew up in, which she's dumped a ton of money in. She didn't even buy it. Her father bought it for her. Guess how much he paid for it?
How long ago?
Well, okay, so let's talk. We're talking like over 40 years ago. Guess.
About $4,000.
Yeah, close, very close. It was about $10,000. You know how much it's worth now? guess how much it's worth now?
$600,000-$700,000.
Yeah, it's about $500,000.
Right.
That's incredible, man.
Well, you got to realize how the world works. I mean, the country. So, our country is obviously a debtor nation, right? Our economy, our whole world, borrowing money. So, what do they want to do? They want to print more money so you can borrow more money, and all they're really trying to do is just devalue the dollar. So, on a long-term scale, typically all commodities and assets would have to go up in price, because we're a country that will continue to print just like the rest of the world. They all print money too. So it's a fact that it's a safe bet to say long term, not maybe short term. There could be trends in the next 2 or 3 years where things crash. Like I think real estate will have a pullback, but I believe that long term everything will go up in price, and that is the problem with people that earn the same amount of money as their parents were making 30 or 40 years ago. Because even though things go up in price, it doesn't mean that your pay is going to go up in price. Your pay is going to go up. And that's how this whole millennial monopoly thing comes into play, because someone's holding all the money.
Who's holding all the money? The banks?
Well, the banks hold a lot, but, a lot of these baby boomers have a lot.
I cannot believe the amount of interest they charge when you take a mortgage out to try to buy a home. They are raping. I'm blown the fuck away by this, how much money they make on loans. It's mind-blowing. Just one person. $250,000.
When you buy a house, the rule is it's about 1.5 times the price if you calculate the mortgage interest. That's what you're buying it at. And then you add in your property tax, and you're like, wow, am I really going to make a profit when I sell this place? Probably not.
You're getting a double whammy. The government's taking a fucking huge chunk, and so is the banks.
Well, they're partners, bro. That's the way it works.
Well, Rico says that houses ain't even affordable for millennials, and he's right. I mean, you can't.
Millennial monopoly.
You can't afford a house.
That's the name of the game. It's the name of the game, and that's to my point that we had hyperinflation. And another thing, to go back to Trump, he's the middle class man, but his words were exactly this: the U.S. dollar is too strong in the global market. We need to compete better.
Yeah.
We need to make our money weaker. Houses will go up. Gas will cost more.
But here's the question.
Food will cost more.
Now, where's all the money going? You should know this, Sovereign.
Well, if you print more money, the banks hold the money and they invest it. And that's why
Well,
assets in the market go up.
And the stock market's through the fucking roof.
Right. So put all your money in the housing and in commodities and Bitcoin and real estate, you know. There are programs for people that if you can't afford a house, you can do, investment portfolios. You can buy a house in another state. I mean, to live, I understand. But if you want to get in that action, there's places and avenues you can go so your wealth will accumulate and grow. But the fact of the matter is, since the creation of America, the supply has never been cut back. The supply has always been increased, and it will always continue because they have a simple process. The simple process is we just increase the supply of money. We play with the interest rates to make it more expensive to borrow. That's kind of like making the money supply less. And then when we want to increase the money supply, if we don't print, we can just lower the rate, and it's cheaper to borrow money, so you have more buying power, which then pushes prices higher. So we're transitioning right now from a low interest rate to a higher interest rate territory right now, which means to borrow $100,000 doesn't cost, $300 a month. Now it costs $500 a month versus 3% or 5% interest on a 30-year loan. So if your buying power is reduced because the cost is higher, home prices come down because you can't buy as much. Doesn't matter what type of demand you have. Everyone is getting less buying power, right? And it's a cap on the property tax.
So it's a seesaw pretty much. It swings from government back to the banks back to government.
Well, this is fascinating to me, man, because the only property that I ever bought before this year, the only property that I ever bought was a house in Indonesia. Nothing. I never bought any property here. This year different, but before that, never bought any property, and it was always and it was dirt cheap. So
Ayam, let me interject here. The difference with Indonesia, with Cambodia, with Thailand is the government is more overt in taking your land. They just show up at your door with guns and say,
you're gone. You're gone.
Whereas in the West, they play all this fucking mind game bullshit and want to make your life miserable.
Yeah. Attorney documents, right? It's all paperwork documents. They make a job out of it. Careers.
Right. There's an industry in fucking you.
But over there,
there's industry in everything in this country.
Well, over there, the only job they're giving is to the local thug with a pistol.
Right.
And then he's got a job to come over and go, okay, get out of your fucking house. We want it. That's the only job.
And he represents.
Has your house gone up in value?
No, it's been sold. I got divorced and I couldn't own the land outright. You basically own whatever you build on it, but the land itself you don't own it if you're a foreigner in that country. You can own apartments, condos, yeah, but you can't own a piece of land for a house. Same as you build a business, you can't actually own the land the business is on. You can own the business, you can own the house that you build on that, which is what I did, but the land itself is not yours. So at any time, seriously, they could knock on your door with a couple of guys with guns and go, get the fuck out right now. This is our house now.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think they're being at least more honest. In America, you don't really own. Yeah, they say it's private property, and going back to it, you pay a tax. But if you own the land, why do you have to keep paying tax? Why is it forever? If you own it, the cost of ownership should be based on what you want to invest or spend on that land, not what the government says. Absolutely. Right, so it's really the same shit. They just word it differently, like Nick was saying, whatever the fuck his name is, was saying before. It's just more elaborate.
Yeah.
It's all make-believe bullshit.
Yeah.
The government can come here and take your fucking land, too. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It's the same shit. They just interpret things slightly differently.
Well, here's a story for the both of you. During Hurricane Sandy, my grandfather lives on the Atlantic Ocean. He lives there's a bay on Long Island, and it's right next to the Atlantic Ocean. During Sandy, the bay rose and went into his house and to his in-ground swimming pool that he pays a high tax on. Unfortunately, what had happened was he got a bill a fine from the EPA for $20,000. My grandfather is looking at the agent saying, well, what the fuck is this about? The EPA says, you contaminated the bay with your pool water. Give us $20,000. My grandfather goes, how do you know that? My grandfather goes, how do you know that? They pull out satellite images of before and after sanding.
What?
That's right.
I would have been like, I drained the pool properly.
Dear God, that is incredible, man.
So they're coming after your land one way or another.
Yeah, they just want money. They just want money, man.
Well,
That's
we're
it.
gonna
That's
go
what
back
this
to
country's built on.
the way this country was in like 1830, where there wasn't like suburbs with rows of houses. It's gonna go back to one big plot of land, and you're a serf on that fucking land.
Yeah.
I think we'll go. I thought you were saying something different, but yes, I think we're going backwards in time. We're definitely going backwards here. Not in a good time. Backwards as in we're going to the places we never wanted to go back to. We're already on our journey there.
Feudal system.
Yeah.
Feudal system, definitely. Well, look at it this way. I joke about it sometimes that I'd like to wear a shirt that says Trump for King. And I'd like to wear that. I'd like to just wear it around town because I know I'd fucking probably get beat up. But it's not. I probably would. I really do want to have a shirt that says Trump for King because it just triggers people. It's incredible. But we're going back again. I think what you were saying before to it's slowly the monarchy's taking control again. I think the checks and balances that were put in place with a constitutional based republic, all those checks and balances are being torn down little by little.
I mean they do things listen, like Lamprey was saying before. I mean, he's saying you can just get in, do whatever you want. I mean, Obama kind of did that with the Obamacare and banning guns, and overnight Cuomo signs a fucking bill that no one gets to vote on, banning fucking, what he calls an assault rifle, but it's just a fucking rifle, semi-automatic rifle,
right.
And the magazine sizes. What kind of a world do we live in there when we could wake up the next day, there's laws that we could have already broken in our sleep?
Yeah, retroactive laws are something that exists.
Even more.
This goes back to the rape allegations.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing's a big fucking mirage. I believe the American dream, our government, and our society here is equal to living in any other country. They just give you a mirage of safety and disbelief to make you think that we're different and more superior when in fact we're fucking not. We're just like everybody else.
Well, it might be it might be the fact that the idea of
I think there's other countries that are actually better, that actually protect their citizens better.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, it might even be the fact that the concept of a constitutional republic was basically an experiment. It was an experiment on how well can a monarchy continue to function under the illusion that there is no monarchy.
That sounds pretty good.
And it's funny because I'm in Canada. I mean, what's the difference between Canada and America, really? What is it? It's the concept of the Constitution and the Republic. Canada is still considered a colony? Commonwealth country. Yeah. It's a Commonwealth country.
Yeah. You have a lieutenant governor in Canada.
Yes. Yeah. So
you know what the lieutenant governor does?
No. What does he do?
Oh my God! The lieutenant governor
fucks around.
The lieutenant governor of Canada has the ability to abolish Parliament on behest of the Queen of England.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty good.
I don't think it's been done in Canada, but it's been done once in Australia in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Well, my point would be this: take away all these fancy titles, take away all the names of the fucking governments, and ask yourself a simple question: can the government take your land if they want to?
Yeah.
I think the common answer that everyone's going to say is yes.
Yes. In every country.
Can the government? Can they make a law that they enforce overnight?
Yes.
Common answer everyone's going to say again.
Yeah.
Okay. So forget about all these different names every country has and titles and the people and their positions. You got a person with a small table of other people that he sits with, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
that's the way it is. I mean, it was like that 1,000, 2,000 years ago too. So it's all an illusion. That's the way I see it. I mean, they could freeze your fucking bank account tomorrow, and you know what? They can say, "We want to know where all this money came from. We think it was from drugs. Prove to us that you earned that money or where it came from." And they do this.
Yes.
For certain instances, if you get a lot of money put in your bank, whether you hit the lotto, I mean, no, hitting the lotto, they're going to know. But, you know, let's say you did a large investment, you got paid a lot. You make a lot of money, right? You have it on your bank account. If it looks suspicious, you better be ready to prove to them, because you're guilty until proven innocent now. It's the opposite.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not really innocent until proven guilty. They said, well, we think this. You know, same thing with the IRS with taxes. Now prove to us we're wrong. So everything they said in this country and in every other country, I believe, is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I've been around to see it. I know too many people, and I've seen and heard many stories for me to say, oh, yeah, this country is, you know, totally different. America's number one. It's the fucking same thing. Maybe we got, you know, nice houses and things, nicer homes, and, you know, better quality of some food.
Yeah,
Not
but
everything,
nice.
But there's other qualities that are better in other places.
When you talk about amenities and like such as homes and I don't know, your yard,
Creature
and your
comforts.
If you're talking about creature comforts, calling them nice is very subjective. I mean, what?
Right. I was getting to that. That's
Yeah.
true. Every country has its own advantage over another.
Yes.
In other words, you know, they all do. I know for sure. I've been around. I've seen it. I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I was kind of maybe leading the wrong way with
Go
that.
go on, Ayam. What you're trying to say?
Well, I was just saying that you know, and I wasn't disagreeing with what you're saying, Sovereign. I think you're absolutely right. Maybe we have better houses, better things, and in a sense, in a subjective way, you could say yes, we do. But I mean, for me as an expatriate, the biggest difference for me now between, let's say, Southeast Asia and America or Canada, it's not so much the quality of life when it comes to creature comforts, but there's a real difference between how much and in what ways your masters or your governing bodies interfere with your life. And to be honest with you, one of the things that keeps my mind drifting back to Asia, Southeast Asia, as a possible final retreat for myself, is the fact that there, yes, the government could, if I ran a business or I had a place, the government could come with a gun and skip all the bureaucracy and just put a gun to my head and say, leave. But at the same time, other than that, they pretty much let me do whatever the fuck I want. They sort of leave me alone.
Yeah, it's still good, and I think the average person feels the same way. And the average person would wake up if the government started, you know, poking them with a baton, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's it. It's like there, you know, people. I can pretty much just kind of live my life, and they'll stay out of my life. They won't bother me as long as I don't piss anybody off. I'm fine. But here.
But okay, wait, Ayam. What I think what has happened though, and this ties into everything that Sovereign was saying, is they don't actually have to have the baton anymore, because you're still feeding the beast and you're still a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
So if you don't get off, if you decide to get off that rat wheel, well, guess what? The government's not going to come and take your property.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what Sovereign was saying about presumed innocence. You know, you're on the right channel for that, actually, Sovereign, because the concept of presumed innocence to people within the MGTOW circles and any other men's rights circles, they understand that men do not have that right, especially when it comes to relationships with women. And again, this is going back to the rape claim, the fall of Cosby, the fall of Weinstein.
I really think it's just ridiculous. I mean, you really should have some proof here. I mean, I could sit with a couple of my friends if I was a girl and I didn't like this guy and I was getting paid a bunch of money under the table, and we could just all come out and say, yeah, this guy raped me. He raped me and it was horrible. And I couldn't come out. I was so embarrassed. Like, is that really all it takes to put somebody in prison and ruin their fucking life?
Yeah.
It's just pathetic. the law is supposed to protect people.
No.
And that is not protecting people.
No.
They're flipping the protection upside down and trying to say, well, we're protecting the one that was raped. But
yeah. And the target,
false allegations are just not good. You need protection from that.
And the main target is men. Men are the targets. Men are the target.
It's always been. It's always men.
It's always been men.
It's always going to be men.
It's always going to be men.
It's
Men
the
are
way
disposable.
it fucking is.
Yeah, the men are disposable. It's always going to be men, and they're the targets. And there's no presumption of innocence if you're a man. And if you're any of my listeners understand this, and this understanding, it molds your behavior. I mean, how am I going to behave in any situation that might be romantic or sexual with a woman if whatever I do will be considered guilty before I'm innocent?
Yeah, I've already had that thought run through my head a couple of times. Believe me, I was with a girl and she's like, "Oh no, stop!" And I'm like, "All right, I better just stop."
Yeah, I'm
because the last thing I want to do is have a fucking serious. I'm dead serious. I just stopped, and the girl's looking at me weird. And I'm like, "Listen, you said stop. I'm not looking for problems. Like, we were in this room. You came here.
Yeah.
No,
what are we doing?"
Stop means go, and every guy knows this.
No.
Not with the controversy that's always been going on, dude. Because you know what? She can pretend like, oh, just lays there and says stop, and you don't listen. And in the end, bro, you'll be basically tried for rape. You will.
Yeah.
Because she said stop and you didn't.
What if she's asleep?
Fucking rape. I don't know, dude.
Even if she's had a drink. If you guys have been drinking, if you've
Ask
both
Bill
been
Cosby
drinking,
how that sleeping thing was.
Yeah.
I think all his girls were asleep.
if you and your girl are drinking, both of you are drunk. Both of you are fucking drunk. Let's say near blackout drunk, and you manage to flop over and fuck one another. The next day, it's only you that are responsible for it because you got a dick. Your innocence needs to be proven.
Yeah.
Not your guilt.
You know, here's a good example. Have you had any man that's came forward and said this woman's raped me?
No. Well, the women do rape, but men don't think they've been raped. That's the whole point.
Well, even if they don't, if a man came forward and said, "Oh, this woman raped me," do you really think the cops or whoever you report this to is going to take you seriously?
No, they're not going to take you seriously, man.
How? Right? A woman raped? Oh, you got lucky. They'll say something fucking ridiculous. Something ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and that's the real rape culture. You hear
it is. It's the perspective that the people have on the male.
Yes.
It's perception.
If you were traveling through MGTOW circles like Nick and I do every week, you would see that almost like clockwork, every week there's at least 5 stories of some teacher raping an underage boy, a student. It's an epidemic. It's a goddamn epidemic, man.
Yeah, but you know what? With kids, it's different. I mean, adult raping adult. You know, the woman never gets in trouble. It's just the man. But when it comes to a kid, I know there's a fine line here. The kid has innocence, right? Like a woman would technically have, right? That's the same way they get the girl. So the boy had innocence, the woman took it. But the man took the innocence from the woman that said no, so it's rape. But a woman can't take an innocence from a grown man.
No, but from a child they can, right?
He's not innocent. Yeah, right.
From the child they can. But this is my point. This is the real rape culture. Women are fucking raping children. It's a goddamn epidemic, man. I'm not just saying that this happens casually.
No, I've seen this shit in the news since I was a kid.
Yeah, and how does the general society and the media treat it? Every headline is woman has affair, teacher has affair with 12-year-old boy. That's it. And a fucking affair. Could you imagine if
but I think she goes to jail.
Most
if I
of
was
the time,
a little boy, I probably wouldn't press charges, though.
No, the women are getting away with it now.
They're getting away with it. That's the point. They're getting away with it. Yes.
Yeah,
that's the point.
He doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't know.
You don't know this. That's the whole point.
How can that be?
Oh, good question. Absolutely fantastic question. You know, welcome to our world.
They must take the little kid in the room and say, "Hey, did you like it?" Yeah, because the cops ask the kid, "Did you like it?" The kid's going to say, "I loved it."
There is.
You know what I mean? Like,
Nick and I.
A girl doesn't say. Girls don't say that. Girls are like, "Oh, it was horrible. I didn't want to have sex." You know.
I came 4 times, and I swallowed. He raped me.
It's unbelievable. And look, this is the thing, man. Nick and I have done shows on this, man. We've done shows on the disparity in sentencing. There is a huge problem in the Western world of sentencing disparity where women get off for the same fucking crime, especially when it comes to crimes such as rape and sexual molestation. They're doing 60% less time or not getting convicted at all. This is an elephant in the room that nobody fucking talks about. And
because you know why? Because they treat women differently than men, which we already know. Women are not men, right? Men are stronger, they're more resilient, they can be beat up. A woman we must preserve, take care of, and love.
Yes.
So even when a woman does wrong, it's almost like a child. It's like, no
agency.
Let's not hurt them too much, but we have to let them know what they
So
did.
do you see women as children? Do you think that they're like children? Do you think women are like children?
In some instances, I mean, you don't really find too many women that are very sharp.
Should we treat them like children?
Pay attention to detail, that are successful on their own.
Should we treat them like children? Should we treat women like children?
I mean, if we treat them like children, I think you're supporting what you are perceiving them to be, which would not allow them to grow.
Very good. That's
good.
good.
So my question is then,
if you treat them like a kid, they're never going to grow, and they're going to always have that as an excuse.
Yeah,
they're an adult, so they have to be treated like an adult.
So we shouldn't. So in one sense, we can see women. We can almost equate women with children, but we don't want to treat them like children because they're adults. So this is my solution to this fucking horrible problem we have. If women are getting away with rape, literally getting away with raping children, then I
want to see some of these articles. I would hope you send me some on Skype.
Oh, we got plenty. The teacher in England was a big one.
Nick's got it covered.
Yeah, but you have to look into how they treat.
No, it's in America too.
The people that do the raping.
America.
Because
too.
I've seen shit like where a teacher goes to jail for 5 or 10 years for raping a kid. Like I've seen shit like that over the past 15 years
there has been many
life.
cases. You're right. Yes.
But look, I'm not saying that women don't go to prison. I'm saying that for the woman that went to prison for 5 years, if it was a man, he would have done life. Now, there's a huge disparity, and there are studies that have been done.
Yeah, but there's more details to it. I mean, it's also isn't also the punishment and how hard they're going to go against you based on also the person that was raped. I mean, it's not just about the government making the decision. You have someone that's suing and wants
the judges making
that's
the
it.
decision.
So what if the guy that was raped says, it's not a big deal?
No, there's no.
I don't want to press charges.
Look, if a young girl gets raped, the world comes to a grinding halt. If a young boy gets raped, people slap him on the back and tell him to get over it. Right. And we're supposed to pretend that it doesn't affect him the same way it might have affected the girl? That's absolutely insane.
Let me interject. Give me a second.
That's not what I'm trying to say. What I was trying to say was something a little bit different. That when a boy gets raped, it's not as traumatic, I would think.
No, it absolutely.
It may be traumatic.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
It's
not.
It's not true according to the science. It's not true according to the science.
The development of a man and a woman is two totally different things. A man by nature is a hunter, a provider. I mean,
if we're going to accept,
go back all the way back.
Okay, good. Look, I'm going to. This is what I'm going to say with the argument. Can you guys hear me? Am I not cutting out? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Look, if we're going to accept that it's different for a boy to get raped than it is a girl, I think that's preposterous. I think it's horrible to think that way. But if we're going to accept that, if we're going to accept that, then if we're going to accept that extreme of a difference between men and women and boys and girls, then I propose that women. Hold on, let me finish my point. I propose that women should not be allowed to vote, because if you are such a child to be as a child as an adult, you do not have the capacity, nor do you have the responsibility or the.
I don't think I'd be like all bugged the fuck out about it. I knew what girls were when I was 10. I knew what it was about. I'm not retarded.
Well, that's weird because I'm the complete opposite.
Is a little different.
Exposed to it at a very young age, so
I was. So it got me more sexually.
I thought stop meant go. Well, it's too late now, man. They're coming to your door. They're gonna be knocking on your fucking door. That's what happens when you mix with MGTOW.
You have to edit this fucking stream now.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's
edit
live.
it out.
It's live.
2 hours. It's the 2 hour mark.
No, I can't.
Yeah, but you could go back and re-edit it so when the rest of the people listen, it's not there.
Nah, fuck it. It's done. Cops are coming, guys. The fucking gynocentric police are coming.
Yeah.
You're on a MGTOW channel, so you hate women. Sorry.
Just think about this. It has to be against the person's will. That's all you should think about when it comes to rape. Raping is against the will of someone.
And that's why
For
we
a
have...
kid, but you're having illegal sex. You can't have sex with children that are that age.
They don't have
So
it
is still
can't
illegal
have
in its own way, but I don't think it really falls under the full classification of against someone's will rape.
Yeah, it does, because
I don't think
children
most
don't have
little
will.
boys they're getting erections around 10
So
or
you're
11
saying
years old.
you're saying that we shouldn't give we can only give a license to an 18-year-old boy, but we can suck his dick at 10. Give me a fucking break, man.
I'm not saying that. I would never do anything like that. What I'm trying to tell you is that when you're a boy, you're more naturally going to be interested in having a sexual experience than a girl is.
But that's,
again, they're wired differently, right? Like what's on the top of a man's list?
I understand
the way
that
a world looks and sex. Right?
I
That's
understand
like on the bottom of a woman's list.
I
So
understand.
you have to
and
realize
accept
that.
All right,
And
slow down,
Now, hold
Sovereign.
on.
Let Ayam go.
Okay, I understand and accept your opinion, but what I want to know is how have you come to that conclusion? Is that just personal opinion, or do you have some?
No, that's a majority.
it's an overwhelming
opinion, I'd say.
populated fucking opinion. Dude.
Is it?
Come on.
Yeah.
Is it though?
It is.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
plenty of friends that were having sex at 10, not 10 at 12. Right,
Chuck
Chris?
David.
You know, Chris, 12 was probably his first. I mean, dude, the kids are doing crazy shit at these ages today.
Chuck
The-
David.
What I'm telling you is if you want to go by the law system, the way it works, rape means it's against your fucking will. Period. So if it's not against this little boy's will, he stayed and he was okay with it, and he
But
had
the
more
law
than one
states that
occasion.
Little children
Yeah,
don't have
Right,
that will.
right.
They don't have that.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay.
That's a different law.
Yeah.
That's a different punishment.
Yes.
So there's multiple. When you rape a child that's a girl, not only are you getting the rape, but it's also whatever it's called, underage sex too.
Right.
Sex
Okay,
with a
so the
minor
punishment is greater.
Sex with
Right.
a minor, yeah.
So if you want to teach little boys to be like girls, tell them to run away when a girl touches their dick, and then they'll get the same treatment that the women get when they get raped.
So
You're trying to pussify men, is
Right,
what you're doing.
make a big deal out of it.
Right.
That's trying to
So
pussify
if you have
Man is a man, bro.
Okay, well,
Change
a boy
the
is
moral.
and a boy
change
is a
the
boy.
ethos of the society is what he's saying. If you change the ethos, the cultural mores of the society, then that would change in the.
I gotta tell you, man. If you have a dick that gets hard, I think it's pretty hard to run away. If there's a good-looking woman
Well,
there, and
same.
she wants
If
to do something
if a
with it.
girl's got a pet pussy that's wet, a wet pussy, same thing as a hard dick, man. I don't see any difference. You know,
That's true.
And you also know that most
No, the difference
most
is
women
the girl is actually trying to. A girl isn't gonna just lay there, dude. They're gonna try to get away. And
Yeah,
they're
well, a
gonna
lot of
scream.
women have rape fantasies. I mean, rape fantasy
Yeah.
is huge. It's huge. But let me throw this fact
Yeah,
at
but
you.
that's a little different.
Let me throw a fact at you. Most rapes, when they occur, the woman has an orgasm. She must have wanted it, right?
No, I think that even if I didn't want to have sex and somebody kept sucking my dick, I'm gonna come, aren't I?
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, it's just natural.
So just because he has a hard-on doesn't mean he wants it.
But he could say no, and he could walk away or
So
try
could-
to get
and
away.
so- yeah, and-
so
and
if
he
he's
would.
not, just
Why
like a
wouldn't he?
girl that's laying in bed, she could be wet and she could want it. But if she says stop, you should probably stop. So my point
Yeah,
is
and
my
if the
point.
boy
It makes
says
perfect
stop,
sense.
If the boy
Right,
says
but I'm
stop, you
pretty
should stop.
sure that when the investigators talked to these kids, the boy never had a sign of a struggle, and he fucking probably liked it.
Well, how do you know the little girls didn't either? I mean, did they struggle? What if they were so scared?
I think. Well, I'll tell you
You're,
what.
you're
when
making
you're a
coming.
little girl,
You're making assumptions.
dude, you sound insane. You must not understand. First of all, a little girl doesn't.
Wait,
develop
slow
vagina.
down.
A little girl's vagina is not even developed. That's even ridiculous to even talk
Absolutely.
like that. For an
Look.
adult dick to go in there, you're gonna fucking damage her, almost probably permanently. And again, the virginity is something that you are taking. That is real.
Yeah, no,
that
again,
she
the whole
has.
women's
Dude,
virginity.
you're wrong, man. I
How
can't
it gets
believe you're
elevated.
arguing this point.
Okay.
You're not sounding too good right now, man.
Oh, I'm sounding
I can't
fine.
even believe you.
I'm sounding
What's
fine.
AM, Dark? I lost track here.
I think what's happening is that there is a bias in Sovereign's mind when it comes to
what
boys.
blows my mind is that you want men to be like girls. That is
No,
ridiculous.
absolutely not.
No. Hey,
You
slow
want
down.
equal rights, dude. You want equal rights.
No,
That's what it sounds
absolutely
like.
not. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
Wait,
what you're
slow down.
saying is equal rights.
No.
You want a man to be treated the same way a girl is for the same situation.
No,
it doesn't
absolutely
work
not.
like
Absolutely
that.
not. That's not
A
what
man
I'm
can
saying.
lift more. A man can move quicker. A man is a man. There's a woman. It's two different things.
Yes. So
All right.
if men and women are different, and you're willing to say that boys can be raped, and that's fine,
No, I'm not saying they can. Stop making up shit.
Okay.
I didn't say that. I said most of the time it's not really rape because it's not against their
perfect.
will.
If you're going to say that,
that's why
most
there's
of
been
the time,
that's why there's usually a more than one occasion with these children that the school teachers have. It's not a one-time thing and they're in trouble.
Right. So you're willing to accept that men and women are different, and that boys most of the time it's not really rape. Okay, that's the difference you're going to give to them. I'll accept that. Most of the time, boys, it's not really rape, and there's a difference. Then there's other differences we need to address, and one of them
is... Well, I agree with you about that.
Sovereign, wait for him to finish. Wait.
I know what he wants to say. Right. I believe there's a role a woman should play.
I want to hear AM side of it. Go on, AM.
So, again, this is... You're willing to accept a disparity in sentencing. Is that correct? Because you're saying that, well... Boys, most of the time, it's probably not rape, so therefore women shouldn't get sentenced as much as men do for the same crime, correct?
Well, it's considered a different crime because it's going to just be underage sex. It's not going to be against their will.
Okay.
You know, usually when someone... Usually
No. It's against their will. They're sovereign.
Yeah.
Because he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on, so you're wrong on that.
How do you not know what's going on? You know what's going on.
No, you don't.
I don't know.
Are you fucking crazy? What's the matter with you?
Yeah, I think you're sounding.
You're
going
to be confused.
You're sounding pretty bad there.
No, you guys. If a girl is taking you in the back room when you're little, you're telling me that you're not going to understand why she's touching you.
That happy.
Wow.
That's what I think it is.
What?
I think you wish you touched it.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just a little fucking.
At 10 years old, would you be okay at 10 years old that one of your teachers started sucking
What grade are you in when you're in 10 years old?
When you're 10 years old, you're
Fourth grade.
No, you're in grade 5. Grade 4 or 5,
yeah, almost definitely. I thought my third grade teacher was really fucking hot. I can tell you that much, and I probably would have done something if I could. So I'll tell you the truth. So again, to answer your question again, first of all, men at a very young age, boys, develop
They want to
sexually
women,
quickly.
They don't know what it is. They want to do something to women, but they don't know what it is.
I knew what it was. I sure as fuck knew what I wanted to do with that third grade teacher. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, you guys.
That's weird.
Okay, look. Okay, so I want to get back to that point that you made, Sovereign, about that. Okay, if it's a boy, then it's different, right? It's different. So because it's different as a boy, do you support the disparity in sentencing when it comes to that crime? Because again, let me. I want to throw at you some statistical facts. I don't have them at hand, but they're very easy to find, and I've bookmarked them.
Okay.
And Nick has seen them.
Tell me about
there
it.
is a very huge disparity in sentencing for women when it comes to rape. Women are getting off; they're getting less time. It's usually 60% less time, and 60% of the time, yes, and 60% of the time they aren't getting convicted at all. So, in other words, as a woman, and even a teacher, a woman of public responsibility for a minor, you can suck the dick of a 10-year-old boy, and you have a very good chance that you will not see the inside of a prison cell. These are statistical facts. And based on what you've told me, because boys and girls are different, and you think that do you agree with that disparity? Is that fair?
I guess I would say not entirely, because it has to be against the person's will. If it is, it applies to boys as well. My point was that usually a girl is more protective at any age of her life about sex. A boy is not as much, or a man. They're more interested in having it. A girl is less interested.
That's a valid point.
Okay. So my point is, if you want to read the law the way it reads,
yeah.
If the little boy did not fight, push away, say no, and he sat there, it's not against his will.
What if the girl didn't fight or push away?
Well,
technically
then, not really. I mean, technically, if she enjoyed it, but you're trying to make a scenario that would never exist. How can a 10-year-old child?
Boy.
You're arguing absolutes. You can't argue an absolute, man. There's always an exception.
I'm arguing facts because
there's always an exception.
What it says is what it says.
There's always an exception.
If someone's there's no way that a child, a woman, a baby girl is gonna. It's not going to be against the will.
Let's not say baby.
Whatever the fuck it is. A
baby,
girl,
a baby.
A young girl.
She's like, what, a toddler? Look, we're talking fucking preteen, okay? Look,
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
But she's wearing a bra. Is she bra or braless?
Oh, let's say she's wearing a bra. Let's say she's wearing a bra.
Right.
Who cares about those details?
Well, you
The
said
point-
baby.
Yeah, you said baby, man.
I meant I meant that as like a younger girl.
So the 10-year-old boy has already got pubes and a hard on.
But the girl's a baby.
That's great. You guys are ridiculous.
We are ridiculous. We are.
Now, Ayam, you don't know about this though.
Uh-huh.
Now you have a son, right?
Yes. I have an 11-year-old son.
Sovereign has a daughter.
Oh.
See how? So now I see where the bias is coming in for the both of you.
It's not. Come on. You're telling me that if your son got with a girl, you would give him a high five?
No, I would track her down and strangle her. Actually.
There
What
you
if your
go.
son wanted it?
Because
you talk about girls all the time. What if your son's like, "Oh, she was fucking hot. I wanted her, so I just took it."
Because I know my son, and he wouldn't. He would be confused and
It's
scared.
not. But it's not about knowing your son. What if your son acted that way? Because there are plenty of kids that are 11 years old that know what it is and they know what they want.
Okay.
Would you say, "All right, you want it. What are you going to do about it?"
All right, I'm going to answer your
can't
question.
do nothing.
Let me respond. Let me respond.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer your question based on the assumption that you made that what if there was the exception to the rule that my son might enjoy it? How would I respond to that? In fact, I would still respond in the same way. However, if you're going to give me an exception, then I'm going to give you an exception. What if the girl fucking loved it?
Well, then it's not rape.
Perfect.
She wanted it. It's not rape.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We already
10-year-old girl got
What I
fucked.
said was that
She loved it. She didn't complain. She was
if
wet.
she,
She
not
orgasmed.
that
Done.
she just enjoyed it, but the point of the matter is that she has to be willing to engage in that
There you go.
intercourse.
So
If that occurs, that is not rape. That would be whatever they have a name for it. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it's underage sex.
Statutory.
That's it. Statutory rape, or whatever they want to call it. You're basically stealing their virginity, and it's underage sex.
It's not stealing their
That's
virginity.
a different.
It has nothing to do with stealing your virginity. Get out of that mindset. What statutory rape means is that the child was too young to consent. That's the whole point. It's too young to consent. In other words,
Right,
they
but
can't.
that doesn't fall under the rape category.
That's statutory rape.
It's still separate, right? But it's not the same as
You're right. It's a separate charge.
having. That's what I've been trying to explain to you the whole fucking time.
But if
is that
statutory rape
that's
exists,
why the
then
times.
then a 10-year-old boy cannot consent, and neither can a 10-year-old girl.
Maybe they can't consent, but they can make a decision.
They can enjoy it.
They're still able to make a decision. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there are different charges. I'm under the belief that a girl is less likely to want to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, based on all your podcasts. I mean, you even say when they get older. I mean, grown women don't even want to have sex, right? This other guy over here, whatever his name again is, says the same shit. Okay, but guys, they just want to fuck all the time is what you've been telling me. That's what he says.
That's not what
I said. Always. So it goes perfectly in line with your MGTOW belief is that.
But that's
and
not
it goes,
my belief.
But also a year ago when we spoke, it was also in agreement with the pyramid belief that the first thing on a man's list is you want a girl that's hot. You want to fuck, right? And then you take that pyramid, you turn it upside down. The last thing she wants.
Okay, yeah. I understand, yeah.
The last thing she really wants is to fuck, and the last thing she really gives a fuck about is looks. It all aligns perfectly. You're making up these things that don't even pieces to a puzzle that don't even go together. The point is very simple. Men are more likely to engage in sexual activity than women are.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottom line.
Okay, that's fine.
And that trickles down to kids too.
That's fine.
You know what? Whether you want to believe it or not, kids do shit. You know what I mean?
I think Sovereign's missing the bigger picture here. Is that it's an underage? They're underage children, man.
Well, it's statutory.
We understand that.
The
That's
law
the
says,
other charge.
The law says they can't consent. Yeah, the law says they can't consent.
So you're saying a boy? What you're suggesting, though, Sovereign, is that a boy can consent.
And
no, it's not. My belief is that a boy is less likely to resist, as a girl would resist, which would not just make the statutory rape charge; it would also make it just plain.
No, that
rape.
wouldn't change it. That wouldn't change it. Because a little boy or a little girl didn't resist, and how you would prove that, I'm not
or
sure.
say no.
Maybe. I mean,
so you're telling me that? Okay.
No.
So you're telling me that let's say there was a scenario. Tell me the scenario.
Stop. Well, no, hold on. What Sovereign is saying, and I think he is correct, and the reason why these women are able to get away with it, even though it is fact and law that it's considered rape, is that the boy is kind of, I'm kind of okay with it.
Well, I don't know about that because there's no in these articles that's not mentioned. They don't mention.
They're not gonna because it's dude. This is basic law. First of all, statutory rape and rape are two separate charges.
Yes, we know that. We know that.
Right.
And that
so,
means that
so for even though
consent.
the boy can't consent, it's not considered valid rape if he agreed to it and it happened on more than one occasion. You don't even have to ask him. If he's had a 1 year long relationship going on with a school teacher, after he's done with her grade, dude, obviously this was voluntary and he enjoyed it. There's no questions needed to be asked.
Same for a woman. That's
obviously.
Yeah.
But usually, if you rape a 10-year-old girl, the cops will beat you that day.
Yeah.
They're not going to go along for
exactly.
it. And she's going to be all bloody and fucking hurt.
Which
you
again,
will have to go to the hospital.
Why is that? Why does the man get neglected but the woman not?
Oh my God, this is pathetic. A man is not being neglected, dude. A woman is different than a man. This goes with my beliefs. A woman has a role in society, and so does a man.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as equal rights for the both of them.
Yeah. So the man's role is to be raped without any reformation.
But if he's dude, come if he's in a 1 year relationship though with this woman, and obviously that's
look,
not
you guys, you're giving me these circumstances that I've never seen. I'm trying to talk to you about real evidence.
I can assure you.
Circumstances.
Go.
No.
I'm talking about those articles where these younger boys were raped. It wasn't a one-time deal.
The article's giving you a very small snippet, bird's eye view on what actually happened.
Yeah, but they'll tell you it was. They'll tell you it was more than one time. It wasn't rape. An affair is a relationship, dude. If the teacher had an affair with a child, that's a relationship. It's not a one-time deal.
What if a male teacher has a sexual relationship over a year with a 10-year-old? Let's go 13-year-old girl. Is that an affair?
So, dude, listen. You're blurring the lines here. Raping is punching a girl, putting her on the fucking floor, holding her down, and fucking her. That's it. You're not going to get another chance at that. You got one time and you're done. Okay.
Right.
Statutory rape is the girl likes you and you're going to help her explore her inner sexual desires at an underage that she shouldn't have started doing that yet. And then she's coming back because she liked it and she doesn't know anyone else and you feel special to her and this and that.
What's the age of consent in New York?
17 if you're under 26 and then 18 and over.
Okay, so if you're under, let's say you're a 25-year-old man, 26-year-old man, and there's a 16-year-old girl.
Oh, we already have a case of that already, and nothing happened.
Okay, really?
A friend of mine in Nick's, we won't use names, was
don't use
about
names.
19. He was about 19, dating a 15-year-old girl. They've had sexual intercourse.
Okay.
Nothing happened.
Well, what about a
30-year-old
30-year-old man and a 16-year-old girl?
It would depend on the parents, really.
Well, at 30 years old, technically, it's not legal because you have to be.
Well, it's still
17,
it's statutory. It's considered
26.
Yeah.
Right. But at that point, it would be voluntary, right? The person that's having it has to not like it for them to report it to the police, right? Because if you don't report it, it's not really rape. That's why these boys that are getting things done by these teachers,
do it 30 years later.
They don't get caught for a while.
Unless you report it 30 years later, right?
Right.
Well, that just doesn't make any sense. We already talked about that. You know what I mean? There has to be a timeline. There has to be a time cap on laws and when you report a crime.
You know what it is in Canada? How many years? Ayam, tell them how many years it is.
What, the consensual age?
Yeah, for the statutory rape in Canada, where they can bring it up years later.
I don't think there is a time limit on it.
There was. We mentioned it was like 30 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. 30.
What?
It goes state by state in the United States, and actually some states there is no limit. There is no limit in some states, and they want.
But how does that even get brought forward as proof? You just say it. Oh yeah, we had sex 30 years ago.
Yes,
I fucking don't like him. He's dating a girl that was my best friend in high school. Now I'm gonna rat him out. You know what I mean? Like, dude, this doesn't make. What if? I don't know.
But that's what's happening now in the West, Sovereign.
No, it doesn't make that. Does I understand that, but I just.
A woman raped me 30 years ago. Here's her name. This is what she did. I even have or don't say 30, say, I don't know, 15 years ago. Say
25. 25 would
well,
be good.
at
I'll
least
be a little boy at that point.
And then say, like, yeah, I was a little boy. I was, 10 years old, and this woman raped me, and I wanna file a rape charge. See what happens.
Right. There's Ayam's point.
I don't know. I don't know what would happen. Do you know? Do you really know what's going to happen? I don't see his point.
Well,
he stated it.
He's saying that a girl can go back in time.
Yes.
You go into a police station and claim you got raped 30 years ago. Watch the cops laugh at you. Have a woman go in there.
No, they're not, dude. I think they would follow the same protocol.
No, they would not. You're a quack if you think that.
I want to see it. I'd love to see it because no, they're not going to follow the same. They're going to laugh in your goddamn face.
They're going to let.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
Yes. Well.
Yeah. Why?
Because you've just been telling me.
Tell me why. Tell me.
You've told me why.
You're
because
okay.
men and women are different, right? You told me men and women are different. So because they're different, men aren't taken seriously when it comes to those kind of charges.
I don't know if they're not taken seriously.
And you support this narrative.
I think there's a higher percentage that a boy or a man is less likely to be running away from rape than a woman would be.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
You could,
but
I'm
again,
going to say you
not
will
about
be right.
I think the police, if you listen, it's a definite fact that if I or any other guy or a kid went in and said he was raped, listen, if a boy goes in and says he's raped, they're going to investigate it, dude. They're definitely.
No.
I mean,
you
how many
as an
boys
adult
are raped that are in church?
I mean, you as an adult now.
Yeah. Okay. So go look at the church. These kids that were raped that were working in churches and these all these places, they don't come out and say it until years later. And
false flag attack on the church.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
No,
that
it's
shit.
not, dude.
It's hard.
Shut up.
That stuff's hard to. Well, this is the thing. Look, a lot of what we're arguing, and look, I respect your opinions. I respect all your opinions, but a lot of what we're arguing is speculation. I mean, we don't really know how many boys or how many girls would either push away or not. That's an assumption we have to make. We're making on our own.
Not really.
Well, it is. We're making assumptions based on our personal experience, and that's not reasonable argument. Okay.
It's not constructive in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, but hey, it's part of conversation.
I don't know.
I understand that. It's part of conversation.
I think that girls are very different than men when it comes to sexual desires at a very young age, especially.
Yeah, you think that, but we don't have any data to back that up.
Yeah, you do. What, are you kidding me?
It happened to me the other day. This little, 13, 14 kept following me around. I go, you fucking crazy. Get the hell away from me. I'm going to go to jail.
Well, there you go. Little
It
girl.
happens all the time.
There you go. Little girl wants it.
At a backyard party. She wouldn't stop.
Wow.
Well, and again, too, I mean, maybe, Sovereign, you're trying to draw from your own personal experience, and that's fine, but that isn't included in reasonable argument. However, it's not invalid. It is your personal experience. And at the same time, you got to remember the women that you grew up with are not the same as the women that are growing up today.
Yeah, they're radicalized, man.
There's a lot of little thoughts running around, man. And it's pretty fucking scary. Yeah,
I guess. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I call them thoughts.
Thoughts?
Thoughts.
You know what the word means.
Yeah. No, you think? Yeah, I guess that's somewhat true.
That whore over there. It's just an acronym for basically.
No, I know what it is.
Radicalized young women who basically they don't have any kind of investment in sort of sexual morality to a certain degree. It's basically just
they're trying to be like men. That's that equal rights shit.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Right. Okay.
Well, this goes right back to the teachers. Mm-hmm. This goes back to teachers allowing to touch little boys.
Mm-hmm.
Goes full circle. That's right.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. No. We're on the same page, Sovereign. Trust me, we're on the same page. I mean, we're talking about the same goddamn thing, and I agree.
his big argument was that the statutory rape, that usually the young boy backs down at some form of pressing charges or being upset versus a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what his argument was,
Yeah,
and that's
I
why
think
that's why the sentences get reduced for these women teachers.
I don't know if that's true, but I can understand your point.
That is true.
Well,
that is true.
Think about this. How many times can you rape a 10-year-old girl before someone finds out?
Depends on what country you're in.
It depends on the girl.
No, it doesn't, bro. You do you understand? A 10-year-old girl can't.
Look, if you're in Papua New
can't
Guinea,
have sex.
If you're in Papua New Guinea and you got a lot of money,
right?
All right, maybe you could do weird shit like that over there, but you're gonna know right away. You're gonna have she's gonna be fucked up, obviously, eating and all fucked up. Right. Okay, so you
black guy.
Yeah, she's gonna corrupt her whole tribe in Papua. Like everybody's gonna be fucked up after that.
Her little wood dolls covered in blood.
The point is, it's a one-time thing, right? With a 10-year-old boy, it's more than once, and you can continue it until people get caught. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you rape a girl, you're going to get caught. You know, if they see who you are, because it's something that's noticeably changed, and at that moment you're going to have damage.
Well, you're
Well,
married
with a little boy, you're not going to have any damage besides possible emotional damage, but that's it. There's no other way to tell. You know, he has to also then say, "Well, I didn't like what I just felt," and then he has to go tell mommy. You know what I mean? Like,
right, it's not like the boy's covered in blood and bruised, and
bleeding, and ripped up.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we have generally, as a population, we have different sympathies for men and boys, or men compared to women, and I understand that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why those different sympathies exist. However, I still do not think any of that justifies the disparity in sentencing. I think that if a woman...
All right, listen. Obviously, it's not right. Yeah. Okay, it shouldn't be happening. But my argumenting point is that the law is written a certain way, and it doesn't. It's benefiting
women.
Yeah, in certain instances it does, because
many instances it does,
because no one ever thought a woman would be raping a fucking guy. You know, guys would be like, "Oh yeah, we know you're gonna rape women." You know. It's totally different. So they classified it against someone's will, right? Because they knew it would be against will.
Yeah.
So it is. It's the law. Like we said about an hour ago, is fucked up. I mean, we already could agree on that. So that's obvious.
Absolutely. Now I got a comment by Jonathan. Jonathan, you're there. This is another of Nick's buddies out in Cambodia. He likes to tune in. We have him on sometimes. Jonathan, he says, do you guys know about Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher?
Yeah.
Okay, what the fuck is that? I have no idea.
Oh, my God. What the fuck are you looking up, Hardy?
What is
Joey
it?
Buttafuoco.
What is it? Tell me, what is it?
That happened when we were kids.
What is it,
Yeah,
Sovereign?
I don't really remember it very well, but I'm pretty sure it falls into the line of some sort of sex video or something.
No, he had a wife, and he started cheating on his wife with some underage chick.
Yeah, 17-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
Was he from New York?
Long Island.
Oh, yeah. His name was
actually
everywhere.
he's this guy's neighbor. He's right next door.
Is he?
He's right next door. Go, Nick, go over there, knock on his door, get him to come on the stream. So what did he do? He cheated on his wife with a
17-year-old girl.
And then he tried killing someone. It was a murder, hire for murder plan or some shit. It happened. I was like 3 years old.
The girl tried to kill her wife.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And he's a celebrity now.
Well,
So is the girl.
Yeah.
She's an American writer. I have her up on Google right now.
Yeah, they're making money.
Oh my God, my phone's dying fast.
Well, look, guys. Another thing I want to, because we kind of drifted into this disparity between sentencing differences, men and women, and of course this is a MGTOW topic. I want to get Sovereign. You're very opinionated on the topic, and I want to get your opinion on a few of my talking points about the last article on the judge in New York rules 30-year-old son evicted from parents' home. We're shifting a bit, but I'm still talking about disparity between the sexes here. Now, again, in the beginning, I asked you if I didn't say son, you would have assumed it was a man, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the question I have, and I asked this question to Nick earlier, is why are there no 30-year-old women staying at home?
Because they're getting married to a rich guy.
Right. So men are paying for women to get out of their homes, right?
Could be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So
I know there's plenty of 30-year-old women that are not married, but usually the prime of the girls are married by 30.
Okay. And well, I don't know. Nick and I did that whole Bimble show, and there's a lot of 30-year-old women without fucking boyfriends.
My phone's going to fucking die real soon, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all right.
I got 2% battery.
Okay, we're almost done anyway, man. One more question. Why is this article news?
Because they got nothing else to write about, man. Come on. They had something even more ridiculous on the news a week ago. I forgot what it was, but it was like retarded. That's the way news is.
If it was a 30-year-old woman, would it have
entertainment?
Been news? If it was a 30-year-old woman, would it
It's
have been
entertainment,
news?
man. It ain't news.
Okay, answer my question. If it was a 30-year-old woman, would it have been news?
Yeah, I think so. I know it's not the answer you want to hear, but it's the answer you want to argue with me about.
No.
Oh, shut up. Now you know what he's doing. Now he's just breaking balls. You're just fucking breaking balls at this point.
Yeah, at this point he's just breaking balls because you understand.
I'm an unbiased. I might have an opinion, but I'm
Explain
unbiased.
to me how you figured that. What makes you think that?
Because why does it matter if it's a girl or a man that gets kicked out of their parents' house?
She's a woman. Well, okay, wait. Ayam. He doesn't know what hypergamy floats is.
No, he doesn't understand.
Explain it to him, please.
Okay, well, before I explain hypergamy floats, I want you to understand, Sovereign, that the entire premise of our original argument was that men are different than women.
Uh-huh.
And you understand that, and you argued that point, and you argued that point right down to the hard-on of a 10-year-old boy difference. Now, and that's fucking incredible. I mean, you've got something invested in that opinion. Now,
not really. It's just nature, bro.
Okay. However, now I'm telling you, if it was a woman, you're saying there wouldn't be a difference. Now there's no difference.
Why? Well, first of all, you said that the guy is 30 and he's being kicked out of his family's house, right? Okay. There's no information there besides the fact that
I have
he's
the
being
whole
kicked
article.
out of his house.
I have the whole article here. I can read it to you. But
so I can't imagine why it couldn't have been a girl. They could be kicked out for a billion different reasons, and I'm pretty sure there could be legal ones as well. So for you to say that is like so broad.
Make it news.
It's really
news. How many 30-year-old men get kicked out of their homes every day? Probably a lot. But this is news. And this is not this. And this happened in New York. This is international news. I'm reading the article off of Global News Canada. Nick,
it is a big deal because you bring up a fact that you'll never hear about women getting thrown out of their fucking houses.
Yes, and Nick's own mother.
It's not true.
Sent him.
I have a cousin that was thrown out of their house at like fucking 19.
Yeah, but it didn't make the fucking news. Wait. It didn't make the fucking news.
Let's talk about.
Yeah, because the news is fucking made up. Dude, first of all, that article that's in the news was put there because the person that got kicked out wanted that to be news. Otherwise, it would have never been news.
Well, the news has an agenda, correct?
Sometimes. I believe there's an agenda, and the news is to follow the agenda.
Yeah.
I don't think the news makes the agenda.
No. The news. Agreed.
Let's connect the dots now. Connect the dots. Let Ayam finish.
So there's an agenda, and the news follows that agenda. Now, this is not news to you and I. This is not news. This is not fucking. This isn't headline breaking news. This is a guy getting evicted from his home. Now, I agree with you. The news follows an agenda.
Have you watched the news lately? I mean, everything on the news is like made up.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it is, okay, well, let's say that this story isn't even true. Let's say the news is creating it. But it's
not
still
that it's fake, but most news is pointless these days on TV as well. It's horse shit.
But
it's useless entertainment.
But it's
on
following
TV.
an
I know,
agenda.
but it's on TV. There's a reason why it's on TV. Why?
There's an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It's what agenda are they following here? Because it's certainly, I've never in my life ever seen an article that says, "Oh, this woman is getting kicked out of her home." Now, also, I've never seen an article of a 30-year-old son getting kicked out of a home. So I'm following
you're only
the
basing
agenda.
it on one article.
No, but I'm following the agendas, right? Now, that's one article. I'm not basing it on one article. I'm basing it on other things
Yeah,
that
it's
have been
all
coming
over.
out.
This article was plastered all over
The world. This is world news.
Yeah.
A fucking
Yeah.
What was
30
it? What?
A dude in New York made world fucking news, man. All right?
Okay.
Now, when...
What was he kicked out for?
Okay,
His parents wanted him out of his house.
his parents want him out. It's like, time for you to go. We're going to evict you. Oh, but then the parents went to court and said, we want you to kick our son out for us. Let's get the state involved, obviously.
Yeah, it's called emancipation.
Yeah, let's get the state
I know
involved.
tons of people that have had it done.
Well, Nick's a Nick's a landlord, or works in real estate.
So you're telling me that because it's in the news, you're going to look at it from a negative point of view for man, but I could say it's a positive point of view that we can't believe that this would happen, so that's why it's in the news.
No.
That's what I would say. But you're going to go the other
right.
way and say they're trying to set an example.
No. I'm not. That's not where I'm going. Okay. The point is that it's number one. It's in the news. Okay.
Okay.
Number two, it's not. As soon as this information comes out, again, Nick's mom sent him the message. Look, what's in the news. Now, you guys are in New York. I understand that. But I'm reading Canadian news. This is world fucking news now. All right. Now, what is the number one response? What is the what do you call it? The knee jerk response?
Yeah, knee-jerk reaction.
Knee-jerk reaction to that headline.
Mine would be, why would you kick him out? That's my response, and it's my honest knee-jerk. I question, why would you do that?
Well, okay, wait. Now this goes right back in to millennial monopoly.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Okay.
Does.
Now you know, and I know, we have brothers. Our brothers are the clinical definition of the 13th grader. A parasite on our parents. A drain on them. A drain on the count. Let's say you, Sovereign, working so hard, doing the right thing, your parents would be willing to give you X amount of dollars for a down payment on a home, but they can't because they're subsidizing your 13th grade brother. I have that brother. You have that brother. This guy thrown out of his house is a prime example of that type of person.
That's an assumption. You don't really know.
Well, we don't know. We don't know the full story. That is correct. But
you don't have enough facts or details to even argue your point of view in this situation.
And we don't have enough.
Because the truth is, the knee-jerk reaction is to question something that is placed as a piece of news with no data involved to explain a scenario why.
No, that's our knee jerk. But I'm talking about the regular. Okay, in the comments they get what I'm talking about. The regular,
I know what you're trying to say.
Masses.
Stop. Wait. Let him.
The popular masses, and it's been said in the comments. Tom Rogers says it. The knee jerk. How come he's still at home at 30? That's the knee jerk. We all know that. I mean, why are we pretending like we don't understand?
Not
that?
really.
You and I. Not for you and I.
No, dude, you're missing the point. In South America, everyone stays at home with their parents until they get married. You're totally off. Like, I don't. To me, it's not a knee jerk.
Knee jerk in America.
Knee jerk in America.
Western world. The Western world. The Western world.
But you said it was world news.
It is world news.
Yes.
So it doesn't really apply to too many people.
It applies
because, first of all, many families aren't going to kick their family members out of the house no matter how old they are. It also has to do with the bond. If you're religious, if you really have a true family bond, I mean that's what it really comes down to.
But we're talking about.
I think it's a shame article to embarrass the family of what they did to their own family member. Because at the end of the day, you could be 10, you could be 20, 30, 40, 50, you could even be 80. Mm-hmm. You could still be living with your relatives.
Well,
and it's your job as the family to take care of each other.
Yes, agreed.
And if you can't do that, you should probably be embarrassed because that's what family is for.
Yeah, agreed.
So
however, that's not the general population's knee jerk, and we know that.
listen, we really don't know that. I don't know that.
Yeah,
I'd like to believe that.
Ayam's right.
I like to truly believe that there are a lot of families that care about each other. You know, their own kind, like their own family.
This is not a criticism of families and which families care about each other at all. This is what I'm simply criticizing the article, and I'm simply criticizing, and I'm simply asking the question of what is the purpose of it? Why is it there? Why is it news? And
yeah,
again,
I think that it's to embarrass the family that did that to the kid.
I don't think so.
Because
yeah, I don't think so either.
No.
Yeah, I know. You want to believe that it's set there to make people think that, oh my God, this guy's old and his family kicked him out. We should kick our kids out too. But that makes you're just as wrong as you're saying I'm wrong.
I mean, that's what
you're using your own option.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the headline of the
culture.
article? What does the headline actually say? Does it say?
Let me read it.
Kid
again.
living at home at age 30
yes.
kicked out.
Judge in New York rules 30-year-old son will be evicted from parents' home. Son, 30 years old, parents' home.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Right. Right.
It's all there.
So
shaming men into conformity.
What's that?
It's a shame article, but not on the family, and you know that. I mean, you can wish it, you can want it, but it's a shame on. They're not pointing their finger at that man. They're pointing the finger at you and any other man, and any other man that exists.
The judge is the one. The judge is siding with the family.
They are siding with.
To tell the kid, the 30-year-old, that right. So first of all, let's be clear. At 30 years old, at any age, if you don't want that person in your house anymore, you can go through the correct legal channels to have them removed.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong. All right, so there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right, okay.
It's not news. It's not news.
But the question is, why is it in the news?
Yeah,
that's what
not
Ayam is.
News.
Right. So the fact that we do know that it's normal and it's okay, and there could have been reasons, if it's in the news, obviously it's not
agenda.
It's an agenda. I think it's it's a catch article for people because there are kids that are living at home that are a little bit older than usual, but it's also I think it's
this is your millennial
that
monopoly.
Family's name.
This is your millennial
monopoly.
This is the agenda, man. I mean, come on. The reason it's news, that's the question. Why is it even fucking news? It shouldn't be news. We've come to that understanding right now. We've come to that.
Yeah, but the news has been fucked up. I mean, they put pointless shit in the fucking news always.
It has an agenda.
It's like ridiculous shit.
Yes, it has an agenda. It has an agenda. That's why it's in the news. I mean, to deny that's
possibly.
ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, I guess there is some sort of an agenda. Yeah, I mean, but
the
to say that all these people are taking this type of view, I just would disagree. I mean, I would look at it and say, what kind of fucked up family is that? That could have been me. I mean, I live on my own, but there are people that live with their family still. And you know what? It's like it goes full circle. Like what happens when that woman's fucking 70?
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's living with her son. We're going to, kicking grandma out because, we don't want her there anymore. You know what I mean? Like, dude.
And also, I like what you said about different cultures. Now, think about all the fucking Mexican immigrants in your country right now with 30-year-old sons living in their home.
Yeah,
right?
No, they want that.
They're not going to fucking kick them out, right?
They want them.
No way.
They're not going to.
No.
And even if they did, it wouldn't make the goddamn news.
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
Right. So your question is, why is it really in the news? That's what your question's really about.
Yeah. And we know what the news is. We know there's an agenda behind it. And it's world fucking news. Why is Global Canada, again, this is Global Canada. This is the equivalent of the CNN in Canada, telling me about some kid in New York getting kicked out of his parents' home? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's not even in your country.
It's not even in my goddamn country. And this shit.
Well, is it like a important family, a wealthy family, or anything special?
No, nothing special. And it's not. And it's this shit is mirrored around the Commonwealth,
Why
which I am a part of.
Drugs?
Huh?
What does he do?
No, he wasn't doing drugs.
Hold on.
Why did his parents kick him out?
Excuse me. I need to interrupt. I need to interrupt here. Do not eat my last slice of pizza there, Sovereign.
I can't. I think my phone just died. I can't hear you.
Yeah, he's dying. Now all of a sudden he bites into my last slice.
Okay, well, one more point here before you die off. He's
going to share. He's giving me an olive branch right now. He's going to cut it in half.
Okay, look. Let me read a headline from a video on the article. Some kids can't wait.
Man, I got it. Listen. You gotta look at things in a more positive light.
Let me finish. Let me introduce you to the concept here. So underneath the video, and I'm not going to show you the video, but I'll explain it to you because I don't want to share the screen or anything. But it says some kids can't wait for when they leave home and live on their own. Then there's the 30-year-old from New York whose parents took him to court to get him out of the house. Now, if you watch,
that's what it says.
That's what it fucking says.
Yeah.
Now, and if you watch,
well, why didn't you share this information with me before? Now it sounds much different.
No, well, okay, but also if you watch the video and just look, I'll send the link to Nick and you can watch the video. It's just this long-haired fucking white kid. He's a millennial. Like seriously, you could tattoo the word millennial on his forehead. All right, and you wouldn't notice. So he's got this long hair and he kind of brushes it to his side and he's like, yeah, you know, they just don't want me here anymore. It's fucking ridiculous.
He sounds like Sentient Void.
Yeah, it sounds like Sentient Void. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is fucking news in Canada. There's an agenda, and I know what the agenda is, man. I know exactly what the agenda is. And this comes right...
What is it? Tell me. What is it?
Right on the heels of incels shooting up schools.
Well, wait. Don't get into that because that's going to be 30 minutes explaining to Sovereign what an incel is. What Sovereign needs to know about, I'm going to repeat it again, he needs to understand the concept of hypergamy floats. Why is the guy getting thrown out? Why is that getting international news? And it wouldn't for a woman. Why wouldn't women be in their parents' basement versus a guy?
Well, hypergamy, women marry up. The concept
but they
of
float. Explain some of the flotation is hypergamy.
Okay, if a man fails financially, he's pretty much done when it comes to the pair bonding ritual. But a woman doesn't suffer that same fate. So because she's hypergamous, regardless of her financial situation, she can continue to float above any hardships until a male comes along with enough money to sort of keep her lifestyle to a certain degree. Again, Nick and I have done videos on what we did. Women, what was it? Western women and
homeless
dogs?
women.
Yeah.
Or homeless women. How about how many times do you see a homeless woman versus a homeless man?
There are no homeless women.
Who are you more likely to see?
No, homelessness is 95% male. 95%.
Yes.
That's a huge.
Was that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huge disparity. 95% male. You'll never see a homeless woman. Also, I just gotta tell you, I have seen a homeless woman, but I have seen more homeless men.
There are some. We're talking on the bell curve right now.
95% of homelessness in the Western world is male. Now, I'll give you another example. Here where I live in southern Alberta, small city of 120,000 people, there is a YWCA shelter for women. So any woman that finds herself homeless has a room and a bed. Not for men. Does not exist. Even though men make up 95% of the homelessness.
What about the YMCA? Don't they have a program too?
No, there's no program for men. So even though men make up the lion's share, there are no subsidies for them. Incredible. This is gynocentrism, and this is why hypergamy floats. Another example
it's called hypergamy floats?
No, hypergamy.
Hypergamy floats.
Yeah, hypergamy
floats. Yeah. Like floating in the water.
Like a boat,
floats.
yeah.
Yeah,
like
a woman,
because
sink. She has a vagina, she can just coast through her entire fucking life. Think about when a foreign invasion... Wait a second. Walk away. You gotta go in that direction. Listen. Sovereign's phone just died.
Okay. Well, okay, so Sovereign's out.
He can see he's still sitting right here, though, so,
okay.
You know.
So basically, like what you were saying was... hypergamy floats. A woman can fucking float through her whole life based on her. It's not just the fact that she has a pussy, even though it is because she's a woman, but it's because of the very nature of pair bonding and the fact that women are the be all and end all of reproduction. Reproduction doesn't happen unless a woman chooses to open her legs, and she always has that choice. Men do the dance. Women choose. And because of that, their hypergamy floats. And if you do a better dance, she'll choose you. Are you still there, Nick?
Yeah, go on.
Now, another example, a local example I want to give, is that where I'm working now, in the store that I'm working now, it's very strange for me to see a lot of young early 20s women come in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in their pajamas 2 or 3 times a week and buy $50 worth of alcohol. I find that very fascinating. And I think to myself, what are you doing to make enough money to come into my store 3 times a week at 1 in the afternoon in your fucking pajamas with no makeup on and spend $50 on alcohol?
Right.
What are they doing, Nick? What do you think they're doing?
They're just fucking.
They're using their hypergamous advantage to make money. And again, this is a complete assumption, but I've seen it happen so many times. I'm wondering, and I one day I'm going to have the balls to just say, "Are you online? Like, do you have a website, something I can look up?"
They roll around in bed and flash their cooch.
Yes, roll around in bed, flash your cooch online. It costs them nothing, and men throw money at them like it's the fucking end of the world.
Well, I like to bring up the fact that I mentioned this with Paul. I think it was when we did the episode with Paul. Is a woman's, like, her life, for her to be Queen Alpha, for her to achieve Disney princess level stardom as a woman, is to be as inert as possible and to consume as much expensive resources imaginable.
Well,
that's what you want. If she can just sit there and be a blob on a lazy boy fucking couch.
A child, basically.
A child, right. But not just a child, a very expensive child. If she can get a Coach pocketbook, a BMW, with a house on the water, with a yacht, she's achieved stardom. She's the deity. She's what every other woman wishes they were.
Yeah. And this, again, and Tom Rogers in the comments says, hypergamy floats equals never satisfied. And you're absolutely right. A spoiled child is never satisfied. Absolutely never. And that's again, I want to go quickly back to that article before we end the cast. But when it comes to a boy, well, let's call him a man at 30 living at home with his parents, the reason why that's news is because this is the direction we're going with the media. We have incel shoots up schools, and 1,000 fucking websites light up saying men are fucked up because they want sex, and if they don't get sex, they kill people. And we watched it happen, man. We fucking watched it happen. And that was just a few days ago, and now a 30-year-old man gets kicked out of his home and it's fucking global news. Like, give me a break. It's ridiculous.
Right. And Sovereign made valid points that, what kind of family is that? My family still has not abandoned my brother, and his family still hasn't abandoned his brother, even though they are 13th graders.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I agree with that. I think it's very noble, and I think it's ridiculous that this is... that's my point. It's ridiculous that this is even in the fucking news. There's no point for it to be there. From a rational perspective. But from a perspective of understanding that there's an agenda, yes, I understand why it's in the news. It's there for a very, very singular purpose, and it's very simply to shame men again and again and again. And like you said, Nick, they're coming at, they will come after MGTOW. It's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Sovereign left now, and unfortunately his phone died. He was a numbskull. He didn't bring his headphones, and he didn't bring his phone charger, so he had to drop out unceremoniously. I just got tongue-tied.
Ceremoniously.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Hey, listening to the two of you go back and forth was actually fantastic. That was really cool. And I think the bias, the underpinning of the both of you was that you have a son.
And he has a daughter. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And that both of you made perfect, valid arguments. And I didn't think neither one of you were really right or wrong. I think it got a little bit sidetracked in different ways. But he was right in the whole concept. If the young kid complies, the young boy does somewhat comply, and he's not crying, he's not bloodied, he's not beaten or battered. The discrepancy in the charges definitely do change. There's 100% no doubt about it.
I agree. I think within the law that's going to make an effect. However, I do not think that because someone doesn't complain about a rape doesn't mean it didn't affect them. I think it affects them very severely and psychologically, and there is evidence in the soft sciences that say it does.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of evidence that leans
He's
to...
confused.
Yes.
How can you... He's telling me... He's saying that, at 10 years old, you want to get laid. Actually, when I was 10, I was hot for women, but I didn't know what it was I wanted from them.
No, you don't know. You don't understand what it means. I remember when I was 10, and I went on I used to be a part of like a Boy Scouts type thing. And there was I remember we went on a camping trip, so there was Boy Scouts, and there was Girl Scouts on one trip. Don't ask me why they did this. But I remember being a little boy of about 10 years old, and there was these older girls as a part of another troop that were like these Girl Scouts. We were in the same campground, right? And I remember these older girls. I was about 10 or 11 or 12, and these girls were in their teens. They were like, 13, 14, 15 years old. And you know that...
Little thoughts.
Yeah, and you understand women sexually... evolve faster than men. Like by the time women are 12 or 13, they're growing tits. Boys still look like little kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember these girls came into our tent and dragged out some of the boys because they thought it would be fun and funny. And I remember that instance, and it was terrifying. I mean, of course I was attracted to girls, but I didn't understand what was going on.
Right.
I thought, why is this happening? I don't get it. So the point is regardless of what we think a child expresses during that kind of experience, that's not what's really going on with the individual. I mean, children can't express themselves as well as adults. So there's a lot of trauma that goes involved. This is why, and this is why I told Sovereign that if a woman had the balls to try and touch my kid, I'd fucking strangle her. Mm-hmm. I'd go to her house and knock her the fuck out real fast.
Let me ask you a question now. I want to changing topics, and now that Sovereign left. Do you agree with his stance on Trump?
Yeah, I think so. I think Trump is a businessman, and I think he's using his skill set to help the position he's in now as the president of the United States, as the POTUS. And I don't trust him. I don't trust any president, for Christ's sake.
No. Yeah.
I wanted to rally behind him. I really did. When I heard about North Korea, I was like, wow, that's impressive. I mean,
that's a smoke show.
It's a smoke show, but I'm part of the local masses. I see Kim Jong-un stepping across the DMZ line. I'm like, what the fuck? That's historical, man. That's historical.
Well, there's
shit.
definitely there's some type of deal being worked out. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's historical fucking shit, man. Like Kim Jong-un stepping over the DMZ line and shaking hands on camera. I'm like, what the fuck? This is the Twilight Zone? So regardless of what what's really going on, that smoke and mirror show, that was impressive. Fucking impressive, man.
Just another emergence. No one's standing up to this hegemony that's taking place, this Western hegemony.
No.
Homogeny, I'm sorry. Is it homogeny?
Hegemony, homogeny, same shit.
It is, yeah. No one's standing up except for Iran, I guess, is really what's left. I don't even trust Russia at this point, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't trust Russia either. I wouldn't trust
So Iran and Syria, pretty much. The Ayatollah and Assad. Bashar al-Assad.
Well, all I can say is that if you're a Western thought woman right now that has a pretense to rape little boys, get ready to get gang raped by Muhammad's gang. It's coming. You're going to enjoy it. And when it's all over, if you survive, you're going to become a part of the harem of their leaders. That's the Western woman's wish, and she's going to get it.
I don't know if in North America that's going to happen.
I'm being hyperbolic, man.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
But I'll tell you, man, if that did happen, I would fucking be... I'd have a beer in my hand, and I would be laughing. And,
well, if you're in Germany, you'd be laughing about it.
Yeah. I'd have my passport, my up-to-date passport, and a ticket somewhere. I guarantee you, man.
Well, that whole concept of what, you not really owning your property, what we're going to do a later show on Agenda 21. We will get to that maybe by the end of the summer. It's something I know quite a bit about. But with the debt system, especially with college debt, and now the baby boomers entering their twilight, the question remains, what's going to happen to your home, your parents' house? What you have to pay off all that debt. You haven't saved a single dollar, and you can't afford the property tax. What are you going to do?
Your house is gone. It's all gone.
It's all gone.
It's all gone.
I think it's going to be all gone. Yeah. And you see the prices of homes right now. If you want to sell, I'd sell it now.
Well, and not only that, but if you move, move a few years forward, like let's say my kids' generation, what's going to happen is they'll have nothing. And they'll have to settle for whatever the state allows them to have.
Yep.
They're going to have to give them something. And
they're taking away your fertilizer for your lawn, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Well,
it's the truth.
That's why I've got my I got my 10-year plan in mind already.
Well, you got the marshmallows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the marshmallows, you got the chocolate, you got a Hershey's bar. All you're missing is the graham crackers, Ayam.
Absolutely. And then we can have some s'mores and fucking have a party somewhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know.
Let it all burn to the ground. Southeast Asia beach barbecue, boys. Who's coming? Come on.
That's right.
Save away.
Start saving your money now.
Oh, well, hopefully Sabra will come back on. He knows a lot about Bitcoin.
Yeah. We never got to Bitcoin. And he's got he knows a lot about certain topics that you and I haven't discussed yet on this show. So we'll definitely get him back.
Yeah.
And for everybody listening now, if you have any questions for Sovereign, he's now been on our show twice. So if you have any questions for him, leave them in the comments on the video or in the chats. And we'll try and get him to him. If you have any questions you want to ask him about his opinions or what he thinks about certain ideas, including politics and Bitcoin and what have you. And we'll see you guys again on next Saturday, I guess, in episode 32.
Okie dokie.
We know what it's going to be about yet? Not yet.
No, we'll play it by ear.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night. And we'll talk to you a week from today. See ya.
Nuke me nai no wa ii keredo